Chapter 1194. All right. Feng Qin has forged a saint artifact and won first place. Does anyone have any objections? After Master Nirvana left, Xian Hongzheng looked at Master Bai Luo and the others and asked in a deep voice, "Watermark advertisement, test watermark advertisement, test this old man has never bowed to anyone in the path of forging. But little friend Feng Qin's forging skill is far beyond this old man's. Little friend Feng Qin truly deserves to be number one." Master Shuiwa, who had forged a speed quasi-saint artifact, was the first one to speak. "We have no objections." Master Bai Luo, Master Dan Xian, and the others were also impressed by Yi Qinfeng's shocking performance. Since no one has any objections, the first place of the forging competition will be won by Feng Qin. Now, we will decide the 2nd to 20th places, Xian Hong announced with a smile. He collected the divine weapons refined by the crowd and conducted a final evaluation with the Heavenly Hall's big shots. These divine weapons were enough to cause a great commotion in the central continent. After several hours of evaluation, Master Shuiwa's pair of feathered boots, a speed-type quasi-saint artifact, defeated Master Nirvanic's attack-type quasi-saint artifact. The Wu Go by a small margin and won second place. Master Nirvanic, who had left in shame, was ranked 3rd. Master Dan Xian, who had refined a defensive quasi-saint artifact, was ranked 4th. All right, everyone go back and have a good rest. Tomorrow morning, we will decide the final rankings. Xian Hongzheng, who was in a good mood, announced loudly, "Hall Master Xian, seniors, I will go back first." Yi Qinfeng politely said goodbye and took his low-grade saint artifact, saint sword, and was about to leave the heavenly fire world. "Wait, Feng Qin at this time, monstrous devil king, Qianxin king," and the others called out to Yi Qinfeng and invited him to a feast to celebrate him winning first place in the alchemy competition. Yi Qinfeng winning first place in the alchemy competition made monstrous devil king, and the others won a rope in Yi Qinfeng. Now that Yi Qinfeng won first place in the alchemy competition and forged a saint artifact, they saw Yi Qinfeng's terrifying talent and potential. It could be said that Yi Qinfeng was a treasure trove in human form. He was worth them paying any price and lowering their status to rope him in. "I'm sorry, your highnesses. I'm too tired from today's competition. Let's meet again if there's a chance." Yi Qinfeng politely declined the good intentions of Surging Devil King and the others. He was the first to fly out of Sky Fire World. "Good boy. I didn't expect you to hide so deeply that you could even refine a divine weapon." The Tao addict looked at Yi Qinfeng, who looked a little tired, walking out of the Fire God Palace. She stepped forward and appeared in front of him. She patted him on the shoulder and said excitedly, "Why don't you reconsider taking I as your teacher?" "Senior, didn't you say that you wouldn't force me?" Yi Qinfeng rubbed his nose and said with a bitter smile, "How would I know that you are a living treasure? If I had known that you were so powerful, I would have tried my best to make you acknowledge me as your master." The Tao addict said jokingly. Yi Qinfeng smiled and promised in front of everyone, "Seniors, it doesn't matter whether I become your disciple or not. In the future, as long as you seniors need my help, I will definitely do my best to help you." "Haha, I want your promise." The Tao addict laughed and said with satisfaction, "Let's go back to my ancient courtyard to celebrate. Tonight, we will not go home until we are drunk." "Okay." Yi Qinfeng had a good impression of the Tao addict and the other 3. He wanted to make friends with them, so he didn't refuse. He followed them back to the ancient courtyard and drank to his heart's content. "Feng Qin, after the alchemy competition, the 4 of us and Yu Yan will leave. What are your plans?" After drinking a jar of fragrant wine, the Tao addict threw the empty jar aside. She looked at Yi Qinfeng, who was drinking slowly, and asked in a low voice, "After the alchemy competition, I will stay in the heavenly palace for a few days. Then I may travel around the central world for a while." Yi Qinfeng drank up the wine in his cup and said, "Feng Qin, you have been in the limelight in this alchemy competition. You will definitely be remembered by many people. You have also offended Yao Yan. You must be very careful when you travel around the central world. I will give you this human skin mask. With this mask, even the Nirvana Heavenly Realm Masters can't see through you. Absolute Sword took out a human skin mask as thin as a cicada's wing from his Chinquan ring and gave it to Yi Qinfeng. Thank you, Senior Absolute Sword. Yi Qinfeng didn't stand on ceremony with Absolute Sword. He accepted the human skin mask that was very important to him. Feng Qin, these are the treasures that we are giving to you. With these 2 treasures, even the Nirvana Masters can't hurt you. After witnessing Yi Qinfeng's terrifying potential and alchemy skills, Violent Dragon and Black Lightning King were not stingy. They each took out a sage-level battle suit and a pair of wings with golden feathers like swords. They were sage-level, and they gave them to Yi Qinfeng. Thank you, seniors. Yi Qinfeng was well aware of the value of these 2 quasi-divine artifacts, especially the golden feather that the Black Lightning King had given him. Its value was even more immeasurable. If he could refine it, an ordinary Nirvana realm expert wouldn't be able to catch up to him. It seemed that I couldn't be stingy. However, whether you can unlock the secret of this black jade depends on your ability. The Tao addict took out a jade box from her Chinquan ring. Silence lay in the jade box. It was the size of a fist and weighed hundreds of thousands of kilograms. Senior, this is... Yi Qinfeng took the jade box and found that this seemingly small black jade was extremely heavy. He raised his eyebrows and asked in surprise. This black jade was also obtained in the periphery of Sky Beyond. However, I studied it for thousands of years and still couldn't unlock its secret, let alone break it open. However, I had a feeling that this black jade wasn't simple. It must be hiding a big secret. The Tao addict said slowly. Then I won't be polite. Yi Qinfeng smiled and took the black jade. He said gratefully, By the way, Feng Qin, I have something to ask of you. Black Lightning King hesitated and said, Senior, please say it. Yi Qinfeng asked. Tomorrow, when you go to the treasure cliff of Sky Palace, can you help by keep an eye out for a herb? If you can bring this herb out from the treasure cliff, I will definitely exchange it with a treasure. Very well. Senior, please tell me the name and shape of the herb you want. I will help Senior keep an eye out. If there is one in the treasure cliff of the Sky Palace, this junior will definitely bring it out for Senior. Yi Qinfeng nodded and agreed happily. The herb I need is called the Rainbow Moon Orchid. It is the last main ingredient of the quasi-sage pill that I want to refine. It is also the most important main ingredient. The Black Lightning King told Yi Qinfeng the shape of the Rainbow Moon Orchid. I will remember it. Even if the treasure cliff of Sky Palace doesn't have it, I will help you keep an eye out for Yi Qinfeng when I travel the central world in the future. The Black Lightning King said gratefully. All right, it's getting late. Everyone should go back and rest. The Tao addict suggested after drinking another jar of wine. All right, seniors, rest early. Yuyan, good night. Yi Qinfeng looked at Jiao Yuyan, whose cheeks were slightly red. She was slightly tipsy and her eyes were blurred. He could feel the affection in her eyes. However, Yi Qinfeng had more important things to do at this time. Under Jiao Yuyan's hesitant gaze, he returned to his room. With a thought, he entered the universe realm and took out the mysterious black jade. The reason why he was so anxious to study this black jade was because the moment he saw this black jade, the mysterious golden blood parasitic in the primal chaos divine would become restless. Clearly, this mysterious black jade was not simple. Mobile reading website. Book address. In order to make it easier for you to read next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. Next time you open the bookshelf, you will see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1195. What kind of secret is hidden in this black jade? How could it make the mysterious golden blood so agitated? Yi Qinfeng repeatedly checked the mysterious black jade and found that the soul power of the God-Eater brain could not penetrate the black jade even after increasing its amplitude to the limit. Helpless, he took a risk and summoned the Chaos Divine Wood. He wanted to use the mysterious golden blood that was out of his control to unlock the secret of the black jade. Buzz! 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 The moment the Chaos Divine Wood appeared in Yi Qinfeng's body, the mysterious golden blood suddenly flew out of the Chaos Divine Wood. It turned into a golden light and directly disappeared into the mysterious black jade that even the God-Eater brain could not penetrate. The next moment, the mysterious black jade that the Tao addict had studied for thousands of years started to burn strangely, releasing a light that was more terrifying than the explosion of a meteorite. It turned the first level of the universe realm into a fiery red color, disturbing the Marquis of Qianming, the King of Massacre, and the others. What is going on? Yi Qinfeng did not expect such a change. Feeling the bloodline power released by the burning black jade, he could not help but take 3 steps back. Fortunately, they were in the universe realm. If such a change happened in the outside world, it would probably alarm many people and expose many of Yi Qinfeng's secrets. Brother Qingfeng, what is that? The spirit fish opened her beautiful big eyes and looked at the burning black jade. She felt a familiar bloodline power in the black jade. That black jade was given to me by a senior. He got it in the periphery of Sky Beyond Sky, but I don't know the true origin of this black jade. Yi Qinfeng said, "But why do I feel like my bloodline is connected when I see the burning black jade?" The spirit fish was inexplicably attracted to the burning black jade and gently bit her lips. Bloodline connected. Could it be that this black jade is related to the spirit fish's origin? A thought flashed through Yi Qinfeng's mind. His eyes flashed with light, trying to see the secret of this black jade through the dazzling fire. Just as everyone's attention was attracted by the black jade that was ignited by the mysterious golden blood, a loud explosion sounded. This mysterious black jade that even the God-Eater brain could not penetrate suddenly exploded. 2 drops of golden blood and a drop of dark golden blood appeared in front of everyone's eyes. Blood! There are actually 2 drops of golden blood hidden in that black jade. Just as Yi Qinfeng was controlling the Chaos Divine Wood to devour the 2 drops of golden blood, a terrifying bloodline power surged out from the 2 drops of golden blood. They quickly fused together and turned into a 9-foot-tall, stalwart man shrouded in a bloody light. His appearance could not be seen clearly. Yi Qinfeng and the others felt a terrifying bloodline pressure as they sensed the bloodline power surging within the stalwart man's body. Even Yi Qinfeng's Empyrean bloodline and Fiend God bloodline were far inferior to these 2 drops of bloodline. Clearly, these 2 drops of bloodline were one of the most powerful bloodlines in the universe. Aho! Suddenly, the spirit fish let out a long and sorrowful cry. The second bloodline hidden in her body had awakened. The terrifying bloodline shadow appeared on her body and released the same bloodline power as the stalwart man. These 2 drops of golden blood are indeed related to the most mysterious bloodline in the spirit fish's body. Yi Qinfeng did not expect such a change. The mysterious bloodline shadow appeared on the spirit fish's body, and the bloodline shadow was the same as the stalwart man's. Clearly, the spirit fish was related to the owner of these 2 drops of blood. Sensing the bloodline shadow on the spirit fish's body, the stalwart man immediately cast his gaze over. His deep gaze seemed to want to pierce through the spirit fish. As for Yi Qinfeng and the others who were standing beside the spirit fish, when they felt this gaze, their hearts trembled. All the hairs on their bodies stood up at this moment. They had a feeling that this gaze would pierce through their bodies at any moment. Just as time came to a standstill, Yi Qinfeng secretly mobilized the power of the universe realm and prepared to forcibly suppress the stalwart man formed by the 2 drops of golden blood. The dark golden blood turned into a finger and pressed down on the stalwart man. The dark golden finger pierced out. the bloodline energy of the majestic young man surged, shooting up into the sky. He controlled his bloodline energy and unleashed a barrage of attacks. Each and every one of his bloodline attacks tore apart the space within the Chinkuan realm, shaking the heavens and shaking the earth. The stalwart man's attack could destroy the world, but it could not hurt the dark, golden finger at all. It easily penetrated the layers of bloodline attacks and pointed at the stalwart man. No one could describe how terrifying this finger was. When the finger pointed out, space seemed to turn into nothingness. It suddenly pressed down on the stalwart man's chest, and the terrifying finger force directly crushed his body. The space within a radius of 1 mile collapsed under the power of this finger. Fortunately, the restorative power of the universe realm was extremely strong. In the blink of an eye, the space that was shattered by the dark, golden finger was repaired. Yi Qinfeng also set up a restriction in the room. The loud noise in the universe realm did not alarm anyone. With his bloodline body shattered, the stalwart man quickly mobilized his powerful bloodline power to repair his body. But at this moment, the dark, golden finger pointed down again and shattered the space within a 1 mile radius. The stalwart man's body was crushed into pieces and turned back into 2 drops of golden blood. So, there was an ear-piercing sound as the dark, golden blood seemed to have a life of its own and suddenly swallowed one of the drops of golden blood. As for the other drop of golden blood, it suddenly flew towards the spirit fish that had a bloodline shadow in its body and entered her body. Ao. After fusing with the drop of golden blood, the bloodline shadow of the spirit fish's body appeared. It seemed to become corporeal, and it let out an inhuman roar. It waved its blood-colored arms, and a shocking power burst out. It shook the entire space and attacked the dark, golden finger. The power of this attack was even more terrifying than the stalwart man's attack, but it was still unable to harm the dark, golden finger. The bloodline shadow that emerged from the spirit fish's body was hit by the dark, golden finger. It trembled violently and shattered again. The moment the bloodline shadow shattered, the spirit fish immediately suffered a backlash of soul power. She spat out a mouthful of blood and her pink face turned pale. She fell directly into Yi Qinfeng's arms. Chaos Divine Wood, stop it! The spirit fish was in danger. Yi Qinfeng held her tightly in his arms and controlled the Chaos Divine Wood to block the dark golden finger. Bang! The dark golden finger collided with the Chaos Divine Wood. The Chaos Divine Wood, which was close to the level of a mid-grade holy treasure, was sent flying. The dark golden finger with terrifying attack power appeared in front of Yi Qinfeng. Seeing Yi Qinfeng holding the spirit fish in his arms and mobilizing the power of the cosmos realm to attack at any time, the dark golden finger that seemed to have a life of its own suddenly turned back into the dark golden blood form and returned to the Chaos Divine Wood. Spirit fish, are you okay? The dark golden blood gave up the attack. Yi Qinfeng let out a long sigh of relief. He looked at the pale spirit fish with her eyes closed and asked with concern, "I'm fine, Brother Qingfeng." The spirit fish opened her eyes and said excitedly, "I know what the second bloodline in my body is." "Really, what bloodline is it?" Yi Qinfeng raised his eyebrows and asked quickly, "True God bloodline." The spirit fish slowly spat out these 4 words. Mobile reading site. Book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button below to record this reading record. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1196. Bloodline of a True God. Could those 2 drops of golden blood be the blood of a true God? Yi Qinfeng finally understood why the moment the 2 drops of golden blood appeared, the 3 great bloodlines in his body simultaneously felt a suppression. Watermark advertising test according to the inherited memories in God-Eater's brain. Yi Qinfeng knew that God blood was known as the most powerful bloodline in the universe. It was divided into ordinary god blood, true god blood, master god blood, ancient god blood, and ancestral god blood. The god race used to be the most powerful race in the universe. They had godly blood flowing through their veins. Almost no race was a match for the god race. But because of the strength of the godly blood and the strength of the god race, many races deliberately targeted the god race. They stole the godly blood, which eventually led to the destruction of the god race. There were rumors that the divine demons were the descendants of the divine race. However, the divine demons did not admit to this, nor did they admit that they were related to the divine race. If those 2 drops of golden blood were true god blood, then what was the dark golden blood I obtained in the abyss of hell? When Yi Chen Feng recalled the scene of the dark golden blood droplet easily devouring the true god's blood, he controlled the God-Eater brain to release a powerful soul power into the chaos divine wood. He tried to sense the dark golden blood droplet that had just devoured the true god's blood. However, this drop of dark golden blood was too powerful. As soon as the God-Eater brain's soul power came into contact with it, it was shattered by the bloodline power contained within it. Big Brother Qingfeng, did you just say that the black jade was obtained in the heavens beyond heaven? The spirit fish, whose face had regained some color, asked softly. Yes, the black jade was given to me by a senior. According to him, he obtained the black jade in the outer region of heavens beyond. Yi Chen Feng nodded. Big Brother Qingfeng, if there's a chance, can you take me to heavens beyond? I have a feeling that the world beyond heaven is related to my birth. The spirit fish blinked its big eyes and said, All right, when the time is right, I will definitely bring you to the realm beyond heaven. Yi Chen Feng nodded and promised. Through the series of events that happened today, he had a preliminary guess about the secret of the realm beyond heaven. The outland might be related to the inheritance of the celestials. The true God's blood that flowed in the spirit fish's body might be related to the outland. Thank you, Big Brother Qingfeng. I'll go refine the drop of true God's blood that entered my body. The spirit fish revealed a look of gratitude. She returned to the cultivation ground and tried to refine the true God's blood that had entered her body and was slowly merging with her body. All right, all of you, start cultivating. After saying that, Yi Chen Feng left the universe mirror and returned to his room. After sorting out his thoughts, he took out the dragon spine, sacred sword, the quasi-sage battle armor, and the golden feather. As for the dragon spine sacred sword, it was a low-grade sacred sword that Yi Chen Feng had forged using the God-Eater brain to carve out a sacred weapon rune that resembled a dragon spine. Because of the sacred weapon rune that pierced through the sword god, Yi Chen Feng had named the sword the Dragon Spine Sacred Sword. As the Dragon Spine Sacred Sword was created by Yi Chen Feng, and at the end of the process, Yi Chen Feng wanted to spit 3 mouthfuls of blood essence into the vermilion bird cauldron. Therefore, he did not spend much effort to refine the sacred sword. Then Yi Chen Feng took the glazed flames, profound armor, and golden wings, flying feather, that were given to him by the violent dragon and black lightning king, respectively, and refined them into his body. Soon the sky was bright. After refining the treasures for an entire night, Yi Chen Feng took a bath and changed his clothes in his room. He then met up with Zhao Yuyan and the others, who were wearing a pale yellow dress, and headed to the fire god shrine. Due to Yi Chen Feng's outstanding performance in the alchemy competition and obtaining first place in 2 categories, he attracted a lot of attention on the way to the fire god shrine. However, after the assassination incident last time, the Tao addict and the others did not let strangers get close to Yi Chen Feng. Soon, they came to the magnificent fire god temple with its door open. Look, Feng Chen and Zhao Yan are here. Who would have thought that a dark horse like Feng Chen would be born in this alchemy competition? Even the holy masters of the 3 divine kingdoms were defeated by him. I heard that before the alchemy competition, Feng Chen made a bet with Master Nirvana on the results of the alchemy competition and the prize of the alchemy competition. Really? Doesn't that mean that Yi Qinfeng can choose 9 treasures from the Heavenly Palace's treasure cliff? Looking at Yi Qinfeng, Jiao Yuyan, and the others walking into the fire god shrine, the experts of the various factions who had arrived early discussed. Even more people were envious of Yi Qinfeng's gains in the alchemy competition. Despicable brat. Today's humiliation. I will definitely return it tenfold in the future. Master Nirvana, who had arrived early, heard the discussions of the crowd and was so angry that his whole body trembled. He had completely treated Yi Qinfeng as a mortal enemy. Not long after Yi Qinfeng entered the fire god shrine, he was surrounded by Torrential Devil King, Qianxin King, and the others. After witnessing Yi Qinfeng's terrifying alchemy skills, the 2 divine kingdoms wanted to pull Yi Qinfeng to their camp and increase their strength. As for Fire Sky Halberd and Fire Spirit Saint Sun, who had also suffered a great loss, they were also furious. They could not believe that Yi Qinfeng was so abnormal that he actually won the alchemy competition's double champion. However, when they thought of Yao Yan's words before he left, the 2 of them felt much more at ease. All right, everyone quiet down. A deep and resounding voice rang out as a huge gap appeared in the sky above the Fire Divine Palace. Xianhong and the other Sky Hall's big shots flew out from the Fire Divine Palace and landed on the huge stone platform that the Fire Divine Palace had built earlier. This year's alchemy competition has come to an end. Now, I will announce the final rankings and give out the rewards according to the rankings. The Vice Palace Master of the Heavenly Palace, Xian Qingyun, announced loudly. Every time he called out a name, the corresponding name would appear on the huge light wall. Alchemy competition's first place is Feng Chen, Master Nirvana. Third place is Master Bai Luo. Fourth place is Master Dan Exen. Alchemy competition's first place is Feng Chen. Second place is Master Shuiwei. Third place is Master Nirvana. Looking at his own rankings, Master Nirvana felt extremely irritated, especially when he thought about how he had lost the first place reward to Yi Qinfeng. He became even more furious and ashamed. Although he was the #1 saint sovereign of the 9 heavens divine nation, he knew how terrifying the treasures in the treasure cliff of the Sky Palace were. He had coveted the treasures in the treasure cliff for a long time. Originally, he could at least obtain 4 treasures from the treasure cliff that were enough to make the Nirvana heavenly realm experts green with envy. But now he could only take away 1 treasure, which made him feel extremely unbalanced. All right, now we will give out the rewards. Xian Qingyin announced the rankings loudly and gave out rewards to the top 3 alchemists in the alchemy competition. Jiao Yuyan obtained the 15th place in the alchemy competition. Other than receiving a Gu Dao treasure, she also received several 100,000 points as a reward. The Heavenly Palace's points were very valuable. These several 100,000 points could be exchanged for many precious items through the Heavenly Pavilion's channels. All right, I now announce that the alchemy competition has come to an end. The top 3 alchemy and blacksmithing competitions. Please follow I to the treasure cliff of the Fire God realm to choose a treasure. Xian Hongzheng announced loudly and opened the most mysterious spatial Fire God realm in the Fire God City. Yuyan, wait for me. After speaking, Yi Qinfeng flew into the void and entered the Fire God realm with the gloomy Master Nirvana, the smiling Master Bai Luo, and Master Shuiwei. The spiritual energy was abundant, and the Fire God realm was like a paradise. Mobile reading site, book address. To make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this book. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1197. Could it be that what's drifting in the Fire God world is spirit energy? After flying into the Fire God world, Yi Qinfeng felt that what was drifting in the Fire God world wasn't spirit energy, but a higher grade spirit energy. Yi Qinfeng had once discovered this type of spirit energy in the misty, immortal realm. Absorbing this type of spirit energy to cultivate would allow one to achieve twice the results with half the effort, and it would greatly increase one's cultivation speed. After passing through a mountain forest that was enveloped by restrictions, Yi Qin-feng and the others flew into an enormous ancient formation, and at the center of the ancient formation, 3 cliffs appeared. Surrounded by the cliffs was an ancient pavilion that was over 100 meters tall, completely fiery red in color, and had a red sun inlaid at the top of the pavilion. An extremely ancient signboard hung on the pavilion, and 3 ancient words that had experienced the vicissitudes of time could be faintly seen on the signboard: Treasure Pavilion. Even though the Treasure Pavilion was enveloped in an ancient formation, Yi Qin-feng could clearly sense the terrifying concept emitted from the 3 Yugu words on the signboard through the thin restriction. He had a feeling that if the concept contained within these 3 ancient words completely exploded, it would be sufficient to shake a rebirth realm-old monster to death. Restriction open. After flying out of the Treasure Pavilion, Xian Hongzheng summoned an ancient command token, then poured a large amount of Tao Insight energy into the command token to awaken this ancient command token and activate the ancient formation that enveloped the Treasure Pavilion. Then he brought Yi Qin-feng's group of 4 to enter inside. At the instant they entered the ancient formation, Yi Qin-feng's pupils instantly constricted into the most dangerous pinhole shape. He noticed that a withered-haired old man that wore an ancient Taoist robe that was covered in a large amount of dust sat cross-legged outside the Treasure Pavilion, and he was like a statue that didn't move at all. An expert. Even though the withered-haired old man didn't have the slightest fluctuation of aura, Yi Qin-feng felt a dense, dangerous aura from his body when he saw him, and his body contained a strength that was sufficient to destroy the heavens and the earth. Supreme Elder. The 4 of them are the top 3 in the refinement competition this time. I've brought them to the Treasure Cliff to choose treasures. Supreme Elder, please open the Treasure Pavilion and allow them to enter. The Palace Master of the Sky Palace, Xian Hong, whose status was equivalent to the Royal Lord of the Divine Kingdom, deeply bowed to the withered-haired old man and respectfully said. Hearing Xian Hongzheng's voice, the withered old man opened his eyes. The moment he did so, it was as if a trillion rays of light shot out from his eyes. It was so bright that Yi Qin-feng and the others felt as if they couldn't open their eyes. What a scary look. Looking into the old man's pitch-black eyes, Yi Qin-feng felt as if he was the master of the world, as if the world was in his hands. Feng Qin, I've seen your pill refining and weapon forging. It's very interesting. The withered old man sized up Yi Qin-feng a few times. His calm face suddenly revealed a somewhat stiff smile. Thank you for your praise, senior. Yi Qin-feng smiled faintly and said in a tone that was neither haughty nor humble. Feng Qin, I've brought the Sky Hall to beg you for the 8 arms Saint refining technique. Would you be willing to leave this technique in my Sky Hall? Junior is willing. Yi Qin-feng agreed without hesitation. However, Junior needs some time to copy the 8 arms Saint refining technique into the Jade Scroll. Although the 8 arms Saint refining technique was precious, it didn't have much value to Yi Qin-feng. The biggest reason why Yi Qin-feng could refine a Saint weapon was because of the mysterious Saint weapon rune engraved by the God-Eater brain. Moreover, the Sky Hall was the inheritance of the human race. If Yi Qin-feng wanted to fight against the 3 divine kingdoms in the future and cut off their inheritance foundation, he would have to rely on the Sky Hall's power. Therefore, he hoped that the Sky Hall would become stronger. We can wait. To thank you for your selflessness, if you are in trouble in the future, the Sky Hall will help you once. The withered-haired old man promised. Also, these 2 Saint Destruction Pearls are for you. They are destructive treasures that I refined many years ago. It took me a lot of effort to refine them. Once they explode, they can severely injure a Nirvana realm expert. With them, you can protect yourself in the Central World. Thank you, Senior. Yi Qin-feng accepted the 2 Saint Destruction Pearls sealed in the black box and expressed his gratitude from the bottom of his heart. Even though he had the protection of the Sword Soul Puppet, the Sword Soul Puppet wasn't a match for a rebirth realm expert that possessed extraordinary strength. Now that he possessed 2 Saint Destruction Pearls and relied on his various trump cards, he might have the opportunity to annihilate a rebirth realm expert. When Master Nirvana saw that Yi Qin-feng had obtained 2 Saint Destruction Pearls from the withered-haired old man, his eyelids twitched unconsciously. Yi Qin-feng had 2 Saint Destruction Pearls, so he would have to think twice before taking revenge on Yi Qin-feng in the future. With his strength, once he was hit by the Saint Destruction Pearls, there would be nothing left of him. All right, get ready. I will open the treasure pavilion now. What kind of treasures you can take away from the treasure cliff will depend on your abilities. As he spoke, the withered-haired old man stretched out 2 skinny old hands and quickly formed a seal. A Tao intent key appeared out of thin air and was inserted into the groove under the treasure pavilion's beast head door. Kathy Tao intent key slowly turned. The huge beast head door violently trembled and cracked open a huge gap. A formless energy surged out from the pitch-black treasure pavilion. Let's go in. When the treasure pavilion's door opened, Xian Hongjing bowed towards the withered-haired old man again and led Yi Qin-feng and the others into the treasure pavilion. So many restrictions. After entering the treasure pavilion, Yi Qin-feng noticed that the treasure pavilion was filled with many restrictions. He felt that the treasures stored in the treasure cliff were no small matter. He was filled with anticipation towards the heavily guarded treasure cliff. Yi Qin-feng and the others followed Xian Hongjing. They passed through over 10 restrictions and arrived at the deepest part of the treasure pavilion. They noticed that they were standing on a huge cliff, and on the opposite side of the cliff was a light wall shrouded in fog. In front of you is the first layer of my Sky Hall's treasure cliff. It houses the most precious treasures of my Sky Hall for several million years. There are heaven and earth spirit herbs, divine pills and miraculous medicines, secret techniques and divine abilities, and even saint artifacts and beast blood. But these treasures have all been placed with restrictions and will fly out from the treasure cliff. You can only control your Tao intent to seize them. The more precious a treasure is, the harder it is to capture it. So, to obtain that treasure, you will need to test your eyesight and strength. Xian Hong was currently standing on the precipitous cliff as he slowly introduced. So the treasures in the treasure cliff were not randomly chosen. They were obtained through this method. Yi Qin-feng didn't expect that the treasure cliff would have such a mystery. He muttered to himself. As for Master Nirvana, Master Shueihua, and Master Danexan, they didn't raise any objections. Obviously, they already knew the rules of obtaining the treasures in the treasure cliff. All right, make your preparations. The treasure pavilion will be open for 2 hours. Feng Chen has 9 chances to choose. Master Shueihua has 2 chances, and Master Nirvana and Master Pillheart have 1 chance each. Remember, once you have chosen a treasure, you cannot go back on it. Once you have finished choosing a treasure, you will be teleported out of the treasure pavilion by the ancient formation. Xian Hong slowly said as he looked at Yi Qin-feng's group, who were lined up in a row. After he finished speaking, he fused the ancient token in his hand into the ancient formation in the treasure pavilion and activated it. When the powerful formation runes enveloped Yi Qin-feng and the others, the treasure cliff, which was shrouded in fog, shone with endless light, illuminating the end of the treasure pavilion. In the next moment, the treasure cliff that was like a wall of light started to warp, and then numerous treasures that were enveloped within restrictions shot out successively. They were like numerous shooting stars that tore through the sky as they flashed before the eyes of Yi Qin-feng and the others. Every 1,000 people on WeChat will add a new chapter. Currently, there are 300 people left. Please add YLTY83 mobile reading site. Book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the bookmark button at the bottom to record your reading history. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends. QQ blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1198. Buzz, buzz. A large number of treasures flew out of the cliff. Yi Chinfeng glanced at the treasures and immediately closed his eyes. He raised the God-Eater brain's deduction ability to the limit and forcibly penetrated the powerful restrictions to sense the treasures sealed within. Yi Chinfeng borrowed the God-Eater brain's power to sense the treasures. Master Nirvana and the other two also used the same method to sense the treasures. Although their soul spirits were stronger than Yi Chinfeng's, the God-Eater brain's existence was too heaven-defying. Its perception and insight far surpassed the three of them. Under the God-Eater brain's strongest deduction ability, the soul force of the highest frequency penetrated the powerful restrictions, allowing Yi Chinfeng to vaguely sense the treasures sealed within the restrictions. Quasi-sane artifact, top-grade heaven and earth spirit herb, quasi-sane elixir, heavenly flame. Although the treasures that flew out of the cliff were all very valuable, they didn't reach the standard in Yi Chinfeng's heart. Master Nirvana and the other two did make a move. They constantly sensed the power of the restrictions to determine the value of the treasures. About half an incense stick's worth of time later, Yi Chinfeng suddenly opened his eyes and locked onto a treasure that had just flown out of the cliff. The Tao diagram of the 5 elements and the Tao diagram of life and death surged out of his body, quickly converging into a large hand of Tao that grabbed at the treasure. The moment Yi Chinfeng made a move to grab the treasure, Master Nirvana and the other two also felt a powerful restriction light sphere, and this restriction seemed to be sealing a precious treasure. However, they didn't have many chances to pick the treasures, so they resisted the thought of competing with Yi Chinfeng and allowed the huge Tao intent hand condensed by Yi Chinfeng to grab the meteor-like treasure. Break. The moment the huge Tao intent hand grabbed the restriction treasure, the treasure immediately became restless and resisted, wanting to break free. Meanwhile, Yi Chinfeng had deduced the 2 great Tao diagrams to the limit and erupted with a formidable energy of Tao insight to forcefully break open the restrictions on this treasure before grabbing a pitch-black iron box from within. When Yi Chinfeng opened the black iron box, a refreshing medicinal fragrance was emitted from the black iron box, causing one to be invigorated just by smelling it. Sacred elixir. A sacred elixir. When they saw the longan-sized white pill with pill patterns on it, everyone's eyes were completely drawn. There was no need to appraise it. Just by looking at it with their naked eyes, the 3 great sacred experts knew that this white pill was a priceless holy pill. Although the 3 of them had supreme status in the central continent, only great Master Nirvana had the ability to refine saint pills. Moreover, the success rate was less than 50%. In addition, the herbs needed to refine saint pills were extremely rare and precious. Therefore, saint pills were extremely precious to them. Looking at the 3 saint masters' envious eyes, Yi Chinfeng smiled and kept the saint elixir into his universe mirror. He then continued to control the God-Eater brain to sense the treasures flying out of the cliff. Not long after, Master Shuewa made her move. She condensed a powerful hand of will and grabbed a treasure. It was an extremely valuable sacred herb that could increase the strength of Nirvana's almighties. Master Shuewa was quite satisfied with this harvest. She released her powerful soul to continue searching for her next target. Yes, this treasure was... Suddenly, the God-Eater brain sensed the appearance of a powerful restriction. This restriction was so strong that it surpassed the restriction that sealed the saint elixir. It didn't hesitate to control the 3 great Tao diagrams to surge out of its body and form a hand of will to grab it. Not only did Yi Chinfeng realize that this treasure was very powerful, but great Master Nirvana and the other 2 also sensed it at the same time. They all released powerful Tao intents and formed a hand to snatch it. Bronze Sword Soul, break. Seeing that the 3's Tao intents were entangled with Yi Chinfeng's Tao intents, The bronze sword soul suddenly flew out of Yi Qinfeng's soul sea and attacked the three's Dao Intense at an extremely fast speed. Qi. Under the attack of the bronze sword soul's intertwined sword patterns, the three's Dao Intense were immediately damaged. They couldn't stop Yi Qinfeng's Dao Intense from grabbing the restriction light ball that was faster than the speed of light. What great strength! The moment the Dao Intense grabbed the light ball, it was immediately shattered by the powerful impact. The restriction light ball was about to break free. Bronze sword soul break. With a thought, Yi Qinfeng controlled the bronze sword soul to attack. It ruthlessly tore apart the restriction outside the light ball, revealing the black metal box inside. Seeing that Yi Qinfeng had successfully broken the restriction and grabbed the black metal box, Great Master Nirvana and the other two, who had failed to snatch it, looked regretful. They cast their gazes toward the black metal box, wanting to know what kind of treasure was sealed inside. Yes, a piece of deadwood. After opening the black metal box, Yi Qinfeng discovered that there was a dead black tree branch lying in silence. This black tree branch's shape was rather strange. It looked a little like a human. However, this black tree branch didn't have any signs of life. It was as if it had been dead for countless years. With Yi Qinfeng's eyesight, he couldn't see through this black tree branch. Could this be the death substitution wood? Yi Qinfeng didn't recognize this black tree branch, but Great Master Nirvana and the other two, who had lived for tens of thousands of years and read ancient books, recognized the origin of this black tree branch. They let out a cry of surprise. Death substitution would upon hearing Great Master Nirvana and the other two's exclamations. Yi Qinfeng immediately searched his soul memories and obtained information about the death substitution wood. The death substitution wood wasn't a true spiritual wood. It was a protective treasure refined from the immortal grass that was nearly extinct in the Central World. Its greatest effect was to substitute for death. It could be said that having the death substitution wood was equivalent to having an additional life. No matter how terrifying an attack was, the death substitution wood could withstand it. However, after one strike, the death substitution wood would vanish. Feng Chen, I really want this death substitution wood. Are you willing to trade with me? Master Pilheart took a deep breath and looked at Yi Qinfeng with an urgent gaze. I'm sorry, Master Pilheart. This death substitution wood is very important to me. Forgive me for not being able to trade it with you. After knowing the value of the death substitution wood, Yi Qinfeng definitely wouldn't trade it. After all, having the death substitution wood was equivalent to having an additional life. No one would complain about having more lives. Sigh. Master Pilheart sighed softly and revealed a trace of regret. Great Master Nirvana's turbid eyes revealed a deep sense of jealousy. He was jealous of Yi Qinfeng's luck. He had actually obtained the death substitution wood, which was worth more than a sage pill. Xian Hongzheng also revealed a strange expression when he saw Yi Qinfeng's harvest. The treasure cliff was indeed extraordinary. It actually contained such treasures. He wondered if there were treasures even more precious than the death substitution wood and the three main ingredients for refining the heavenly sage shackle pill. Yi Qinfeng stored the precious death substitution wood in the universe mirror and continued to control the God-Eater brain to sense the treasures that streaked across space like meteors. He searched for his next target. Finally, after a while, Yi Qinfeng found his third target. However, Great Master Nirvana was the first to make a move. He grabbed it, wanting to snatch it. Bronze sword soul break. With a thought from Yi Qinfeng, the bronze sword soul was like a cold light as it ruthlessly pierced into the large hand of Great Master Nirvana. The terrifying attack directly sliced off the 5 fingers of the Great Master Nirvana's hand, causing it to be unable to grab the treasure that was enveloped in a powerful restriction. In the next moment, the 3 great Tao diagrams appeared on Yi Qinfeng's body again and transformed into a large hand. Under Great Master Nirvana's furious gaze, it broke through the restriction and snatched it away. Mobile reading site. Book address To make it easier for you to read it next time, you can click on the Save button below to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1199. Feng Qin, you actually dared to snatch the treasure that I fancied. Master Nirvana angrily looked at Yi Qinfeng, who had snatched the treasure away. He was like an enraged lion as he roared loudly. Master Nirvana, aren't your words a bit too overbearing? The treasures in the treasure cliff are all ownerless, and you can snatch them with the power of Tao intent. Furthermore, you even tried to snatch the death substitution wood from me. Why is it that you can compete with me, but I can't compete with you? Yi Qinfeng asked in an overbearing manner. Don't tell me you can be shameless just because you're older. You, Master Nirvana, didn't think that Yi Qinfeng's words would be so vicious. He was so angry that his face turned ashen and his body trembled. He wished he could strangle Yi Qinfeng to death. Master Nirvana, although your cultivation is higher than mine, your Tao intent isn't necessarily deeper than mine. Furthermore, the bronze sword soul that I cultivate can restrain your Tao intent, so I advise you not to provoke me. Otherwise, I don't mind letting you get nothing. Seeing Master Nirvana's furious gaze, Yi Qinfeng faintly smiled and bluntly warned. Brat, you have guts. Master Nirvana was about to go crazy from anger because of Yi Qinfeng, but at this moment he knew that he couldn't threaten Yi Qinfeng. He had no choice but to grit his teeth and swallow his anger. Seeing that Master Nirvana was obedient, Yi Qinfeng no longer paid attention to him. He gently opened the black metal box that he had just snatched. He discovered that there was a blood-red fruit that looked like a vermilion fruit. It contained a powerful life force. Earth Fate Fruit. This is an Earth Fate Fruit. Looking at the blood-red fruit in the metal box, Yi Qinfeng immediately recognized that this fruit was over 200,000 years old. It was extremely important to him and could increase his lifespan by 6,000 years. Damn it! Seeing that the treasure that Yi Qinfeng had snatched from his hands was actually an Earth Fate Fruit, Master Nirvana was so angry that he directly cursed. Veins popped out on his forehead. Master Nirvana had lived for over 10,000 years and didn't have much lifespan left. Therefore, the Earth Fate Fruit was extremely important to him. If he could obtain the Earth Fate Fruit and increase his lifespan by 6,000 years, he could do many, many things. But now, the spiritual item that was extremely precious to him had been snatched away by Yi Qinfeng. He was so angry that he wanted to go berserk. He felt that Yi Qinfeng was the nemesis of his life. Everything that should have belonged to him had been snatched away by him. Master Nirvana, thank you. Looking at Great Master Nirvana, who was trembling in anger and whose eyes were spitting fire, Yi Qinfeng smiled faintly and intentionally thanked him before storing the Earth Fate Fruit into his universe mirror. AI, this Feng Chen's luck is really too good. Master Shuiwe and Master Pilheart exchanged looks. They could not help but be envious of Yi Qinfeng's gains. It could be said that Yi Qinfeng's previous 3 harvests had moved their hearts and were worth paying a great price for. After obtaining 3 great treasures in a row, Yi Qinfeng continued to control the God-Eater brain to sense the treasures that were ejected from the treasure cliff one by one, searching for the 4th target. At this moment, 2 treasures, shrouded in powerful restrictions, flew out and shot into the distance at an extremely fast speed. Buzz! Buzz! The instant these 2 great treasures appeared, Yi Qinfeng and company's eyes shot out beams of light at the same time. They condensed a powerful Tao diagram that transformed into a Tao intent hand that grabbed at the treasures and began snatching them. Just as the 4 of them were snatching the 2 great treasures, the God-Eater brain, which was rapidly making deductions, sensed the appearance of an even more powerful restriction. It decisively gave up on the 2 great treasures and deliberately bumped into Great Master Nirvana's Tao intent hand to grab the 3rd treasure. Yi Qinfeng's deliberate bump caused Great Master Nirvana to lose the initiative. He could only watch helplessly as Master Shuewa and Master Pilheart snatched the two great treasures. Just as he was enraged, he sensed the appearance of an even more powerful restriction. He immediately changed his target, but at this moment the bronze sword soul had already attacked the terrifying restriction. The extremely sharp attack tore through the restriction, revealing the black metal box. F***CK, if I don't take revenge, I'm not human. When Great Master Nirvana saw the three great treasures being divided by Yi Qinfeng and company while he got nothing, he was driven mad with anger. He was so angry that he wanted to skin Yi Qinfeng alive for going against him at every turn. When he saw Yi Qinfeng snatch the treasures in the metal box, he was even more furious and aggrieved. This was because the fourth treasure that Yi Qinfeng obtained was a dark purple violet dragon emperor ginseng. Its roots were in the shape of a dragon, and it contained powerful spirituality. This violet dragon emperor ginseng was not only one of the main ingredients for refining sacred elixirs, but it could also slow down aging and increase the strength of Nirvana Heaven realm mighty figures. If it were to spread to the outside world, it would definitely cause Nirvana Heaven realm old monsters to fight over it. One could also obtain unimaginable treasures from them. The treasures that Master Pilheart and Master Shuewa obtained were also very valuable, especially Master Shuewa. She obtained a small section of a spine. From the spirituality contained in the spine, it was suspected to be the spine of a top sacred beast. It contained fresh bone marrow that could strengthen one's bloodline power. Buzz. Master Shuewa and Master Pilheart completed their selections and were immediately teleported out of the treasure pavilion. Fengqin, let's forget about the first part. If you target me again, I swear I won't rest until I'm dead. Great Master Nirvana suppressed the anger in his heart as he glared at Yi Qinfeng. Master Nirvana, you might not understand me. If you said a few words, I would have let it go. But you threaten me. You know I hate being threatened the most. I won't let anyone who threatens me have a good ending. Yi Qinfeng smiled faintly and said fearlessly, Aren't you afraid of being hunted down by the Nine Heavens God Kingdom? Master Nirvana was about to go crazy from anger because of Yi Qinfeng. He had to use the Nine Heavens God Kingdom to pressure Yi Qinfeng. There are many people who want to kill me, but I'm still alive and well. Yi Qinfeng warned coldly. Also, I advise you not to anger me. Otherwise, don't blame me for asking my master to take revenge for me. Hearing Yi Qinfeng's warning, Master Nirvana's expression changed, and he was speechless. There were rumors that Yi Qinfeng had an unimaginably powerful master. Yi Qinfeng's heaven-defying alchemy skills also proved how terrifying his master was. If the master behind Yi Qinfeng really came out, then it could bring a disaster to the Nine Heavens God Kingdom. Thinking about this, Master Nirvana regretted his impulsiveness. If he didn't covet Yi Qinfeng's alchemy skills and deliberately provoked him, then he wouldn't be in this situation today. Seeing Master Nirvana finally calm down, Yi Qinfeng revealed a trace of disdain. He no longer paid attention to Master Nirvana and got rid of all distracting thoughts as he searched for his next target. Soon, the God-Eater brain that was deducing at high speed vaguely sensed a heaven and earth spirit herb in a powerful restriction. This spirit herb was very similar to the rainbow moon orchid that the Black Lightning King was looking for. Yi Qinfeng controlled the God-Eater brain to repeatedly sense it for 2 breaths. He was 80% sure that the treasure he found in the restriction was the rainbow moon orchid. He immediately controlled the Tao intent giant hand to grab it and forcefully took it in his hand. Rainbow moon orchid, it really was the rainbow moon orchid. Looking at the treasure in the black metal box, it was the rainbow moon orchid that the Black Lightning King needed. Yi Qinfeng revealed a faint smile. However, although he obtained 5 extremely valuable treasures, he didn't find the main ingredient for refining the heavenly saint breaking pellet. More than half the time had passed, and a trace of anxiety appeared in his heart. Mobile reading site, Book address. To make it easier for you to read next time, you can click on the Collect button below to record this reading record. Next time you open the bookshelf, you will see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1200. Could it be that the treasure cliff didn't have the 3 main ingredients to refine the heavenly saint breaking pellet? Yi Qinfeng's frown deepened. If he couldn't obtain the main ingredients to refine the heavenly saint breaking pellet in the treasure cliff, then he could only think of a way to trade with the Sky Hall. Fortunately, the Sky Hall had a request for him, which made him feel relieved. However, he was afraid that the Sky Hall also didn't have the main ingredients to refine the heavenly saint breaking pellet. That would be troublesome. Yes, the sun god flower. The treasure in the restriction was the sun god flower. Just as Yi Qinfeng grasped the limited time and controlled the god-eater brain to continue sensing, he finally found the sun god flower, one of the main ingredients to refine the heavenly saint breaking pellet in a powerful restriction. After confirming repeatedly, Yi Qinfeng confirmed that the sun god flower was in the restriction and immediately controlled the Tao intent giant hand to grab it. At this moment, Great Master Nirvana also discovered a powerful restriction light ball. Almost at the same time as Yi Qinfeng, he made a move and grabbed another powerful restriction light ball. When Yi Qinfeng and Great Master Nirvana made a move and grabbed the 2 restriction light balls, the God-Eater brain that was rapidly deducing sensed another powerful restriction light ball. This restriction was almost as strong as the restriction of the death substitution wood, so Yi Qinfeng had to multitask and control the bronze sword soul to block it. Under the extremely sharp bronze sword soul's blocking attack, the restriction light ball was forcefully cut open. Yi Qinfeng obtained 2 large black metal boxes at almost the same time. At the same time, Great Master Nirvana also obtained a heavy metal box. When he opened the metal box, he discovered that there were more than 10 drops of pure, dark, purple spiritual liquid. Judging from the spiritual nature of the dark purple spiritual liquid, the value of this spiritual liquid had probably surpassed the quasi-saint elixir and was close to the saint elixir grade. Although the value of these 10 drops of dark purple spiritual liquid was very high, compared to the treasures that Yi Qinfeng obtained, there was still a big gap. Especially the death substitution wood and the earth fate fruit, they were even more incomparable. Just as the enraged master of Nirvana looked at Yi Qinfeng and wanted to see what he had gained this time, his heart, which had suffered a great blow, was hurt again. This was because he discovered that a small dark brown tree that was as thick as an arm and half a meter tall was sealed in one of the boxes. It was none other than the skywood of soul accumulation that had long since gone extinct in the central world. On the other hand, the heavenly soul accumulation wood was capable of nurturing the soul and reconstructing the body, and it was one of the treasures that rebirth realm experts love the most. With the sky soul accumulating wood, the Nirvana realm old monsters could use the 3 layers of the sky gate to train and break into a higher realm. Even if their physical bodies were destroyed, they could still use the sky soul accumulating wood to rebuild their physical bodies. Damn! How could Feng Chen's life be so good? Grandmaster Nirvana was indignant, angry, sullen, and driven mad. He was teleported out of the treasure pavilion by the ancient formation. Although the sky soul accumulating wood was precious, it was far less important to Yi Qinfeng than the sun god flower. Seeing that he had finally found the main ingredient to refine the heavenly saint breaking pellet, Yi Qinfeng revealed an excited expression. This Feng Chen's soul perception was truly powerful. The 7 treasures he had chosen were all the best treasures in the treasure cliff. This kind of harvest was something that even the divine emperors of divine nations would be envious of. Seeing Yi Qinfeng choose 7 treasures in succession, Xian Hongjing couldn't help but sigh in his heart. Although he was the Heavenly Palace's palace master, he didn't have the authority to freely use the treasures in the treasure cliff, let alone treasures like the death substitution wood and the earth fate fruit. Thus, when he saw Yi Qinfeng choose 7 treasures. Even he felt a bit envious. A scroll, a scroll. When there was still half an incense stick of time before the 2 hours were up, the god-devouring brain, which was rapidly deducing, discovered a scroll within a light sphere that was moving faster than the speed of light. From the seal on the scroll, this scroll wasn't ordinary. This was it. Yi Qinfeng opened his eyes. He controlled the will of the great Tao to transform into a large hand that grabbed at the scroll. After a series of intense clashes, he forcibly broke through the powerful seal and obtained the ancient scroll. Divine ability, mirror image. When his soul entered the ancient scroll, Yi Qinfeng discovered that the ancient scroll contained a powerful secret divine ability. It recorded a powerful secret divine ability, mirror image. Although he had only skimmed through it briefly, Yi Qinfeng was still attracted by this powerful divine ability. He was quite satisfied with this harvest. When he had time, he planned to properly study this divine ability. There was still one last chance. He didn't know what he would get. After choosing 8 treasures in succession, Yi Qinfeng was quite expectant of the last treasure. He controlled the god-devouring brain to continue sensing, searching for the last target. While searching, Yi Qinfeng discovered several good targets. However, he resisted the impulse in his heart and patiently waited. At this time, the 2 hours were getting closer and closer. Just as Yi Qinfeng was about to find a target, his powerful soul vaguely sensed an ancient tree vine within a light sphere of restriction. Could this be the ancient, heaven, mystic vine? Yi Qinfeng immediately opened his eyes and locked onto a light sphere of restriction. The restriction wasn't too strong, but it deeply attracted him. Although the Wangtian Marquis had agreed to help him exchange for an ancient, heaven, enigmatic vine, he didn't want to owe the Wangtian Marquis too much. Not to mention, his harvest today was already very shocking, and there wasn't much time left. In the end, Yi Qinfeng controlled the Tao with giant hand to grab the restriction light diagram that seemed to be sealing the ancient heaven enigmatic vine and took it. Just as Yi Qinfeng snatched away the last ball of restriction light, an unimaginably powerful restriction appeared. It streaked past Yi Qinfeng's eyes and entered the black space on the other side of the treasure cliff, disappearing without a trace. What kind of treasure was inside that restriction? Why was it so terrifying? Yi Qinfeng didn't expect that such a terrifying restriction light sphere would appear at the last moment, and he revealed a bewildered expression. However, he had already finished selecting the 9 great treasures. He no longer had the chance to choose and could only watch it disappear. "Let's go, Feng Chen, let's go out." Xianhong slowly walked to the side of Yi Qinfeng, who had just finished selecting the treasures. He controlled the ancient formation to teleport the 2 of them out of the ancient formation and arrived outside the treasure pavilion. Finished selecting the treasures, the withered-haired old man felt that Yi Qinfeng and Xianhong were teleported out. He opened his deep and boundless eyes and looked at Yi Qinfeng. "Junior has finished selecting the treasures." Yi Qinfeng nodded and said, "Take out the treasures you've chosen, and I'll record them." The withered-haired old man said in an ancient voice, "Yes." Yi Qinfeng nodded and took out the 9 great treasures he had chosen. They floated in the air. One marked Saint Pale, Sun Godflower, Purple Dragon Emperor Ginseng Soul harboring Heavenly Wood, Ancient Heavenly Profound Vine, Earth Life Fruit, 7-colored Moon Orchid, Divine Ability Mirror Image Death Substitution Wood. These 9 treasures you've chosen are all of the best quality. Among the 3 of them, only Shui Yu's small piece of Qilin vertebrae can be compared to these treasures. Seeing Yi Qinfeng's 9 great treasures, the withered-haired old man revealed a trace of surprise. "All right, these 9 treasures are all yours. In addition to these 9 treasures, I'll also give you this Sky Palace gold medallion. With this gold medallion, you can ask my Sky Palace to do one thing for you for free." The withered-haired old man recorded the 9 great treasures chosen by Yi Qinfeng and gave him a golden order inlaid with the words Sky Hall. Thank you, Senior. Yi Chen-feng kept the 9 great treasures and the Sky Hall Gold Order into the Universe Mirror and said gratefully, "This is what you deserve. But remember to give us the 8 arms, sacred refining technique," the withered-haired old man said slowly. "In 3 days at the latest, Junior will definitely give the 8 arms, sacred refining technique to Palace Master Xian." Yi Chen-feng nodded and promised. "All right, you guys can leave now." After saying that, the withered-haired old man closed his deep eyes again. There was no longer any trace of life on his body. It was strange, as if he had passed away. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button below to record this reading record. Next time you open the bookshelf, you will see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1201. After bringing Yi Chen-feng's group back to the Fire God Shrine, Shen Hong stood on the stone platform and announced loudly, "All right, the rewards have been distributed. I hereby announce that this alchemy competition has come to an end. Tomorrow night, my heavenly hall will hold a grand banquet in the Fire God Shrine. I hope that everyone can come and participate." "Feng Qin, how was the harvest?" The fairy-like Jiao Yan walked to Yi Chen-feng's side and asked softly. "The harvest was pretty good. I also found the rainbow moon orchid that Senior Black Lightning King needed." Yi Chen-feng smiled at Jiao Yan and couldn't help but sigh. The treasure cliff is indeed worthy of being the #1 treasure of the Heavenly Hall. The treasures inside are too shocking. Many of them would make even Nirvana, Heavenly Realm experts, jealous. Let's go back. After that, Yi Chen-feng and Jiao Yan, who were like a golden couple, met up with the Tao addict and left the bustling Fire God Palace under everyone's envious gazes. "Feng Qin, don't be too happy. Although the treasures are good, you still need to be alive to enjoy them." Seeing Yi Chen-feng's departing figure, Great Master Nirvana's eyes revealed a thick sternness. He was preparing to find someone to spread the news of Yi Chen-feng's harvest in the treasure cliff. If that happened, he would definitely be hunted down endlessly by the almighty experts of the Central World. "Feng Qin, did you find the rainbow moon orchid in the treasure cliff?" the Black Lightning King asked impatiently after returning to the ancient courtyard. "Fortunately, I did not disappoint you. I obtained a rainbow moon orchid that is over 300,000 years old." Yi Chen-feng nodded. He took out the 7-colored moon orchid sealed in the black metal box and gave it to the excited Black Lightning King. Thank you, Feng Qin. This rainbow moon orchid is too important to me." After unsealing the black iron box, the Black Lightning King found the rainbow moon orchid he needed. Moreover, its quality and age far exceeded his estimation. He revealed an excited expression. "Feng Qin, I will remember this great kindness. I don't know what you need. As long as I have it, or can do it, I will definitely give it to you." "Senior, do you have the Phoenix Blood Ganoderma?" Yi Chen-feng only lacked the Phoenix Blood Mushroom to refine the Heavenly Saint Breaking Pellet. If he could gather all of them, he would be able to refine the most important Heavenly Saint Breaking Pellet. "No, I've never heard of such a spirit item." The Black Lightning King shook his head and said, "Feng Qin, take a look at these. Is there anything you need?" As he spoke, the Black Lightning King took out all the treasures he had collected over the years, floating in the air for Yi Chen-feng to choose from. "Senior, you're too polite." Yi Chen-feng glanced at the Black Lightning King's collection and faintly smiled. "Right now, I only need the Phoenix Blood Mushroom. If Senior doesn't have it, then it's fine. Moreover, Senior has already given me the Golden Wing Feather, so there's no need for anything else." "How can that be?" The Black Lightning King said solemnly. "I can't let you lose out. You have to choose a few of my treasures." "How about this, Senior? If this junior needs anything in the future, can Senior help this junior unconditionally?" Yi Chen-feng said with a light smile. "That's not a problem. In the future, As long as you ask, I will definitely help you." The Black Lightning King didn't even think about it and immediately agreed. "However, I still want to use a treasure to trade with you for this rainbow moon orchid. This is what we agreed on." "Senior, are you looking for the rainbow moon orchid to refine pills?" Yi Qinfeng had a good impression of the Black Lightning King, so he changed the topic. "That's right." The Black Lightning King nodded and said, "When I broke through to the Nirvana heavenly realm in Parting Hatred Heaven, I was heavily injured by Parting Hatred Heaven's world-ending heavenly punishment. My body has always been suffering from a hidden illness, and it's getting more and more serious. Only the ancient returning Tao pill can cure it. Senior, if you trust me, this junior will help you refine the ancient returning Tao pill this time. When this junior is done, Senior can thank me." Yi Qinfeng said. "Haha, Feng Qin, you really like my temper." The Black Lightning King laughed and said, "Then I'll leave everything to you. Regardless of success or failure, I will thank you." "Don't worry, Senior. I have an 80% chance of refining the ancient returning Tao pill for Senior." Yi Qinfeng smiled and said confidently. After saying that, Yi Qinfeng returned to his room with the 32 kinds of heaven and earth spirit herbs needed to refine the ancient returning Tao pill. He rested for a while and adjusted his condition to its peak. He carefully familiarized himself with the medicinal properties of the 32 kinds of heaven and earth spirit herbs. He summoned the vermilion bird cauldron and threw them into the vermilion bird cauldron one by one. He then sprayed the burning heaven's sacred flame into the vermilion bird cauldron to begin purification. The burning heaven's sacred flame was a true sacred flame. The power of the flame was extremely great. In less than an incense stick's time, it had completely purified the 32 kinds of heaven and earth spirit herbs, turning them into 32 drops of pure and flawless spirit energy that floated in the blazing vermilion bird cauldron. Condense the pill. After the purification, Yi Qinfeng used the power of the spiritual bead of life to continuously condense pill veins that contain the power of life. He fused them into the slowly condensing embryonic form of the pill, improving the quality of the ancient returning Tao pill. Black Lightning King, don't worry. Feng Qin is the champion of this alchemy competition. He has even refined a sacred pill. He will not fail in refining the ancient returning Tao pill. The Tao addict, who was waiting outside, saw the nervous expression on the Black Lightning King's face and softly comforted him. The Black Lightning King nodded his head heavily. The ancient returning Tao pill was extremely important to him. He was already faintly unable to suppress the hidden illness in his body. Once it erupted, he would become a cripple at best. In the worst case, he would die suddenly. Therefore, Yi Qinfeng's refining of the pill would directly determine his life and death. Just as the Black Lightning King was anxiously waiting, the tightly shut door suddenly opened. Yi Qinfeng walked out of the room. Thump! Seeing Yi Qinfeng walk out of the room so quickly, the Black Lightning King's heart fell to the bottom. A bitter smile appeared on his face. "Sigh, it seems that the heavens don't want me to live any longer." The Black Lightning King had spent a lot of effort to gather the heaven and earth spiritual herbs needed to refine the ancient returning Tao pill. In particular, the Sky Hull only had one main herb like the 7-colored moon orchid. Yi Qinfeng's failure in refining the pill meant that all his hopes were dashed. "Feng Qin, you failed in refining the pill." The Tao addict's eyes widened in disbelief. Although he was full of confidence in Yi Qinfeng's alchemy skills, Yi Qinfeng had only been out for less than 4 hours. This made him feel that Yi Qinfeng had failed in refining the pill. "I did not refine the ancient returning Tao pill." Yi Qinfeng looked at the disappointed expressions of the Tao addict and the others. He smiled slightly and said, "However, I was lucky enough to refine a quasi-sage pill." As he spoke, Yi Qinfeng took out the 8-stripe ancient returning Dao pill that had just reached the quasi-sage pill level and handed it to the Black Lightning King. The reason why Yi Qinfeng could refine the ancient returning Dao pill so quickly and forcefully raise its quality to the quasi-sage pill level was because of the sky-incinerating sacred flame. With the power of the sky-incinerating sacred flame that exceeded the limits of the Duhan continent, Yi Qinfeng, whose alchemy skills had become more mature, quickly succeeded in condensing the pill. He even brought out the medicinal efficacy of all the heaven and earth spiritual herbs to the extreme. A quasi-sage ancient returning Dao pill. The Black Lightning King looked at the ancient returning Dao pill in Yi Qinfeng's hand that was emitting a strong medicinal fragrance and was completely dumbfounded. Not only was the Black Lightning King dumbfounded, but the Dao addict and the others were also dumbfounded. They realized that Yi Qinfeng's alchemy skills had become stronger after not seeing him for a few days. Refining pills was as easy as drinking water and eating. Thank you, Feng Chen. I will never forget your kindness. If you need anything in the future, just say the word. No matter who the enemy is, I will fight alongside you. The Black Lightning King said gratefully from the bottom of his heart. Senior, you are too polite. However, in the future, I am afraid that I will need your help. Yi Qinfeng smiled slightly. Feng Chen, this is a messaging array disk. If you are in trouble, you can use this messaging array disk to contact us. No matter how far you are, we will rush over to help you. The Dao addict took out a messaging array disk and gave it to Yi Qinfeng. Yi Qinfeng also gave his contact information to the Dao addict. At this time, the Black Lightning King took out a powerful quasi-sage treasure, the soul-falling bell, and gave it to Yi Qinfeng to thank him for helping to refine the pill. Let's go. We are happy today. Let's go and celebrate. We will leave early tomorrow morning. The Dao addict, who was in a good mood, suggested, Senior, are you not going to attend the Heavenly Palace banquet? Yi Qinfeng asked softly. The 4 of us are used to being alone. We don't like crowds. Moreover, we still have important things to do. If it wasn't for your and Yuyan's amazing performance in the alchemy competition, we would have left long ago. The Dao addict said, Feng Chen, I am leaving. You must be very careful when you are traveling alone in the central continent. Hearing that she was going to leave Yi Qinfeng tomorrow, Zhao Yuyan said reluctantly, Yuyan, cultivate well with Senior Dao addict. I will come and find you when I have time. Yi Qinfeng looked at her gently and said softly, Yes, for our promise, I will cultivate well. Zhao Yuyan nodded and said solemnly, Well, it's not a life and death separation. You will meet again soon. The Dao addict said with a smile, Let's go and drink. Today, we will not return until we are drunk. Mobile reading website. Book address. In order to make it easier for you to read next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. The next time you open the bookshelf, you will see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1202. As the sun set, the last ray of light disappeared into the horizon. The bustle of the day gradually faded away, and the quiet night arrived. However, the entire Fire God City was bustling with noise and excitement. Watermark advertisement, test watermark advertisement, test under the setting sun. Yi Qinfeng, who was wearing a white alchemist robe and had a body as straight as a steel spear, went to the Fire God Shrine alone to participate in the banquet. The Dao addict and the other 3 had already left the Fire God City with Zhao Yuyan. Wangtian Marquis Group also left with them, returning to Wangtian City. Although Yi Qinfeng and Zhao Yuyan, who shone brilliantly in the alchemy competition, did not return to Vast Celestial City, the Vast Celestial Pavilion was still promoted to a 9-star Celestial Pavilion because of their outstanding performance. The scale of vast celestial city was bound to expand along with the vast celestial pavilion's promotion. Feng Qin, you're here. Under the protection of many Sky Hall experts, Yi Qinfeng arrived at the bustling fire god shrine. Wearing a luxurious robe, a crown on his head, and a pair of python-scaled boots, the Tidal Demon King immediately walked out of the fire god shrine and greeted him personally. "Hello, Lord Tidal Demon King." Yi Qinfeng smiled faintly and said in a neither haughty nor humble manner, "Feng Qin, I've asked you out many times, but you didn't have the time. Tonight, you have to accompany me for a few drinks." Tidal Demon King said amiably, "Oh right, Han Yan is also here. She's waiting for you inside. Let's go in." "All right, I'll accompany you for a few drinks tonight." Yi Qinfeng nodded and followed the surging Demon King into the Fire God Palace, where the sound of a zither drifted in the air and the lights illuminated the sky. It was as bright as day. "Hanyan, Feng Qin is here." After passing through a long corridor, they arrived at a white jade plaza with many ancient wooden tables. Tidal Demon King immediately called out to Shui Hanyan, who was attracting the attention of many people. "Gu, can you not be so tempting?" From afar, Yi Qinfeng looked at Shui Hanyan, who was wearing a tight black tulle miniskirt. Her long hair draped over her shoulders and covered her snow-white back. She exuded a deadly seductiveness. Yi Qinfeng's throat involuntarily moved, and his eyes unconsciously drifted over. Shui Hanyan's figure was too hot. The thin gauze skirt wrapped around her body made her exquisite figure look extremely seductive. The chiffon skirt she was wearing was too short. It barely covered her perky, but leaving her perfectly straight, slender, and flawless legs completely exposed to the air. Her curvaceous body was like poison, attracting the eyes of the surrounding men. Seeing Yi Qinfeng's arrival, Shui Hanyan's fiery red lips slightly curled into a charming smile. She slowly walked over with an alluring fragrance. "What, don't you recognize me?" Shui Hanyan blinked her big charming eyes and looked at Yi Qinfeng, who had a strange look in his eyes. She smiled faintly and said softly, "Hanyan, there's no need for you to dress up so sexily." Yi Qinfeng said with a bitter smile, "What, am I not sexily dressed?" Shui Hanyan's smile became even wider. She said in a charming voice, "Actually, I dressed like this today for you." "For me?" Yi Qinfeng pretended to be surprised and said, "To seduce you." Shui Hanyan revealed a charming smile and said, "How about it? Do you have any feelings for me?" "Feng Qin, you and Hanyan have a chat. I'll find you for a drink later." Sensing that the relationship between Yi Qinfeng and Shui Hanyan was not simple, Tidal Demon King was secretly delighted and tactfully walked away. "Hanyan, I'll go pay a visit to Palace Master Xian first. You can chat with the others first." Yi Qinfeng was somewhat unable to resist Shui Hanyan's charm and her overbearing gaze. He wanted to quickly leave. "Okay, then I'll go find someone else to chat with. But I'm a straightforward person. Maybe I'll reveal some of your secrets to others." Shui Hanyan said with a confident look on her face, "If the Nine Heavens Divine Nation knew that you destroyed the inheritance of the Heaven race in Xingluo continent and that you don't have an unimaginably powerful master behind you, what do you think they'll do?" "You're threatening me," hearing Shui Hanyan's voice. Yi Qinfeng's eyes revealed a trace of coldness as he stopped and said, "Yes, I'm threatening you." Shui Hanyan ignored Yi Qinfeng's angry eyes and pressed her sexy body close to him. She gently tiptoed and put her seductive red lips close to his ear. "Yi Qinfeng, I've already said that you are the man I like. I'll eat you." Seeing the ambiguous actions of Shui Hanyan and Yi Qinfeng, the Qianxin king of the Kirin kingdom who wanted to rope in Yi Qinfeng frowned and secretly cursed the despicable Octave Divine Nation for using a beauty to seduce Yi Qinfeng. "Shui Hanyan, what do you want?" Yi Qinfeng suppressed the anger in his heart and asked, "I want you." Shui Hanyan exhaled a fragrant breath and softly whispered in Yi Qinfeng's ear, Shui Hanyan, tell me your true purpose. Don't play this game. Yi Qinfeng didn't believe Shui Hanyan's words and coldly said, Yi Qinfeng, you are really boring. Shui Hanyan charmingly rolled her eyes and said, If you want to know my true purpose, then come with me. Saying this, Shui Hanyan took the initiative to grab Yi Qinfeng's hand and led him to a quiet garden on the east side of the Fire God Temple under the envious gazes of many males. Now, you can tell me your true purpose. Yi Qinfeng gently shook off Shui Hanyan's hand and asked in a low voice, Yi Qinfeng, am I not beautiful enough or sexy enough? Why do I feel that you hate me so much? Although Yi Qinfeng's action of shaking off her hand was a bit rude, Shui Hanyan wasn't angry. Because your purpose is too strong, I have to be on guard lest you sell me out. Yi Qinfeng looked straight into Shui Hanyan's eyes and calmly said, It seems that you know me very well. Shui Hanyan charmingly smiled and said, Well, I don't want to beat around the bush with you. I need your help. I wonder if you are willing to help me? Shui Hanyan, aren't you thinking too highly of me? I have no background in the Central World. How can I help you? Yi Qinfeng slightly frowned and said, If it was before, you really wouldn't be able to help me. But now it's different from the past. You've won 2 championships in the alchemy competition, and your influence and appeal have become extremely terrifying. If you're willing, there will be many people willing to serve you. Even my octahead divine country wants to rope you in at all costs. Moreover, you have a good relationship with the Tao addict and Yen Ryu, so you can definitely help me. Shui Hanyan's peach blossom eyes moved about, drawing out Yi Qinfeng's mind as she spoke her serene words. Then what do you want me to help you with? Yi Qinfeng took a deep breath and said, It's very simple. When I need you, you will go to my octahead divine country and ask my father to marry me. Shui Hanyan was like a delicate and beautiful rose in full bloom, smiling like a flower. What? That's impossible. Yi Qinfeng didn't even think about it and rejected it. Nothing is impossible in this world. Although Yi Qinfeng rejected her completely, Shui Hanyan was still not angry and said softly, I have enough chips to move you. Then tell me what you want. Yi Qinfeng stared at Shui Hanyan's beautiful face and said after pondering for a while, My first bargaining chip is to keep your secret forever. My second bargaining chip, my body. My third chip is when I become the divine emperor of Octahead Divine Country one day. I will help you unconditionally destroy the inheritance of Ju Tian Divine Country. Shui Hanyan said slowly. Her voice revealed an incomparably strong ambition, causing Yi Qinfeng's expression to change slightly. Mobile reading site. Book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button below to record this reading record. Next time you open the bookshelf, you will see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1203. Shui Hanyan, don't tell me you want me to help you seize the throne of Yamada Divine Kingdom. Yi Qinfeng didn't expect Shui Hanyan to be so ambitious that she wanted to be the empress of Yamada Divine Kingdom. Watermark advertisement, test watermark advertisement test. If I say yes, will you help me? Shui Hanyan blinked her beautiful big eyes and looked straight at Yi Qinfeng. Shui Hanyan, don't you think too highly of me? I'm just a nobody. How can I help you seize the throne? Yi Qinfeng shook his head and said, Besides, Yamada Divine Emperor should be your father. Do you really want to overthrow your father? Although Yamada Divine Emperor is my father, he is also the enemy who killed my mother. At the moment of my mother's death, I secretly swore to destroy everything that he had. Also, he didn't treat me as his daughter at all. He only trained me to be his tool. In order to improve the overall strength of Yamada Divine Kingdom, he was going to let me marry the son of Wanjia Hierarch. Shui Hanyan's beautiful eyes revealed a trace of sadness. You don't want to marry the son of Wanjia Hierarch, so you asked me to propose marriage to your father. Yi Qinfeng frowned and said, "Yes, you won 2 championships in the alchemy competition. You are very popular. If you propose marriage to my father, he will definitely agree." Shui Hanyan nodded and said, "And I don't hate you. In fact, I like you a little, so I found you. Are you that confident that I'll listen to you and propose marriage?" Yi Qinfeng asked, looking at Shui Hanyan's charming and beautiful face. "Yi Qinfeng, if you marry me, there will only be benefits. If you are willing to marry me, I will do everything I can to use the resources of Yamada Divine Kingdom to improve your strength. I can also let you have everything that a man wants. Isn't having both women and wealth what you men want the most?" Shui Hanyan said seductively. "Shui Hanyan, you really found the wrong person. I really can't do it." Yi Qinfeng shook his head and declined tactfully. "Yi Qinfeng, do you know what a woman will do when she is desperate? She will go crazy. She will lose her mind. She will destroy everything. If I am really forced into a dead end, maybe I will destroy all the beautiful things, including you." Shui Hanyan slowly said with a resolute tone, "Are you going to threaten me again?" Yi Qinfeng frowned and asked in a low voice, "Yi Qinfeng, you don't care about my life or death. So why should I care about you?" Facing Yi Qinfeng's angry eyes, Shui Hanyan fearlessly said, "Shui Hanyan, it's not that I don't want to help you, but I really can't." Thinking of the consequences of his identity being exposed, Yi Qinfeng felt as if Shui Hanyan had his life in her hands. He sighed helplessly in his heart. "You can help me, but now you don't want to help me." With a hint of craftiness in her eyes, Shui Hanyan said, "If my guess is correct, you came to the central world for 2 purposes. One is to tear open the Tianyu's gate and ascend to the Tianyu. The other is to cut off the Tianyu's inheritance. If you are not very confident in your own strength, do you dare to think about these 2 things? Shui Hanyan, I advise you not to force me. I'm not as powerful as you think." Yi Qinfeng didn't expect Shui Hanyan to have guessed so many of his secrets. Her overbearing attitude made him feel a little troubled. "Yi Qinfeng, why don't you understand? If you are willing to marry me, I swear I will do my best to help you." Seeing Yi Qinfeng reject her again and again, Shui Hanyan's self-esteem was greatly damaged. She said somewhat angrily, "Shui Hanyan, I already have a legal wife. I can't marry you." Yi Qinfeng still refused, but Shui Hanyan's words moved him a little. "Yi Qinfeng, don't worry. Even if you marry me, I won't pester you. At most, we can only be considered husband and wife. We each take what we need. When you ascend to the Tianyu one day, we will cut off all ties." "I won't hold you back," Shui Hanyan promised. "This, Yi Qinfeng, let me ask you one last thing. Will you kill me?" Shui Hanyan lost her patience and looked straight into Yi Qinfeng's eyes. "Probably not." Yi Qinfeng looked at Shui Hanyan's beautiful face, thinking of her help to him. He shook his head and said frankly, "I know you don't want to kill me, but if you don't kill me, you will lose all bargaining chips with me." Shui Hanyan's seductive red lips slightly raised, revealing a beautiful arc, and said, "Today, I must give you a satisfactory answer. Otherwise, I will go outside now and reveal all your secrets. I think a lot of people want to see you fall from your pedestal and be hunted down." "Shui Hanyan, don't force me to kill you," Yi Qinfeng warned somewhat angrily. "Fine, if you want to kill me, then kill me. Anyway, I am just a little girl. I won't fight back." After saying that, Shui Hanyan left a beautiful shadow behind and strode out of the beautiful garden with her slender legs. Wait a minute. Unable to kill Shui Hanyan, Yi Qinfeng compromised and grabbed her arm. "What? You finally figured it out?" Shui Hanyan slowly turned around and asked with a charming expression, "Hanyan, can you give me some time to think about this matter?" Yi Qinfeng sighed softly in his heart and said bitterly, "Fine, then I will give you a few hours to think about it. After the banquet, you must give me a satisfactory answer. Otherwise, we will fight to the death." Shui Hanyan said with a victorious smile. Can you give me a few more days? Yi Qinfeng said helplessly. What do you think? Shui Hanyan took the initiative to hug Yi Qinfeng's arm and let his arm squeeze her soft breasts. She said with a charming smile, Well, don't be so bitter. Do you know how many people want to marry me and how many people envy you? When Yi Qinfeng and Shui Hanyan were chatting privately, the grand banquet held by the heavenly palace had already begun. Where did Feng Qin go? Sitting in the main seat, Xian Hongzheng saw that the main protagonist, Yi Qinfeng, did not appear. He frowned slightly and asked the great elder Xian Zhongting beside him. Feng Qin seemed to have gone to the back garden with Shui Hanyan of the Octahead Kingdom. Xian Zhongting put down the wine cup in his hand and said, Looking at their relationship, it seems a bit ambiguous. Shui Hanyan did not expect that little guy to be so popular with women. Xian Hongzheng said with a faint smile. While talking, Yi Qinfeng and Shui Hanyan appeared with ambiguous behavior, which immediately attracted a lot of attention. Feng Qin, your seat is over here. Seeing Yi Qinfeng appear, Xian Zhongting immediately called him over. Shui Hanyan also tightly held his arm and walked over with a happy face and sat with him on the main seat. Feng Qin, what are you doing? Looking at the ambiguous behavior of the two, Xian Hongzheng's eyes revealed a strange color and asked, Palace Master Xian, we have just confirmed our relationship. Feng Qin has agreed to go to the Octahead Kingdom to propose marriage to my father emperor. Before Yi Qinfeng could speak, Shui Hanyan spoke first with a sweet expression. As soon as Shui Hanyan's words fell, all the eyes on the main seat were cast to Yi Qinfeng, whose expression was a bit unnatural. Among them, Monstrous Devil King was even more surprised. He did not expect that Shui Hanyan's means were so powerful. In just a short time, she had subdued Yi Qinfeng. Really? Xian Hongzheng asked with some surprise. In his impression, Yi Qinfeng was not such a casual person. I and Hanyan have known each other for a long time. Our relationship has always been very good. Although Yi Qinfeng was annoyed, he did not dare to refute. He could only bite the bullet and said ambiguously. Hearing Yi Qinfeng's answer, many forces who wanted to win him over were in despair. But Monstrous Devil King showed a smile. Winning Yi Qinfeng over to the Octahead Kingdom would definitely improve the overall strength and influence of the Octahead Kingdom. Feng Qin, you are the main character of the banquet today. You must drink a few more cups. Xian Hongzheng, with his shrewd eyes, could see that the relationship between Yi Qinfeng and Shui Hanyan was not simple. He did not ask more and frequently raised his cup and drank to his heart's content. At this time, melodious music sounded, and more than 10 beautiful women wearing tulle appeared. They interspersed between the wine table, dancing their sexy figures. The atmosphere of the banquet was also stimulated by good wine and beautiful women, becoming more and more lively. Mobile reading home. Book address. In order to facilitate the next reading, you can click on the Save button below to record this reading record. Next time you open the bookshelf, you will see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1204. Feng Qin, let's go dance. Shui Hanyan, who was in a good mood and had drunk a lot of good wine, looked at Yi Qinfeng affectionately and pulled him up despite his objection. Watermark advertisement, test watermark advertisement test. Shui Hanyan, what do you want? Yi Qinfeng asked with a gloomy face. I just want to dance with you. Shui Hanyan smiled and replied with a sound transmission, let's go. I'm in a good mood today. Don't spoil my mood, or I may say something wrong. Under Shui Hanyan's threatening and dragging, Yi Qinfeng was pulled to the middle of more than 10 beautiful women. Hanyan, I really don't know how to dance. Yi Qinfeng begged for mercy. It doesn't matter. You just need to stand. Shui Hanyan stood on tiptoe and deliberately put her sexy red lips on Yi Qinfeng's ear. She breathed out a hot breath and said teasingly, "I'll move." With that, Shui Hanyan smiled seductively. Like a soft, beautiful snake, she directly wrapped Yi Qinfeng. This bold and unrestrained action of hers shocked everyone present. Everyone present was dumbfounded, because Shui Hanyan's clothes were too thin. When her towering twin peaks crossed Yi Qinfeng's chest, Yi Qinfeng clearly felt the softness. This intimate contact made Yi Qinfeng feel a little strange in his heart, and he wanted to avoid it. Don't avoid it. Shui Hanyan's beautiful face showed a seductive expression, and a layer of red floated on her milk-white skin. She kept dancing her sexy body, entangled Yi Qinfeng's body, and teased all the cells in his body. "Shui Hanyan, this will kill you." Feeling Shui Hanyan's hot body, smelling the crazy body fragrance, and looking at her charming appearance, Yi Qinfeng only felt the flame in his heart rising, and his little heart was ready to move. "Qingfeng, this won't do. I've just started," Shui Hanyan said with her charming eyes, and her beautiful body danced more crazily. Suddenly, Shui Hanyan's slender legs tightly wrapped around Yi Qinfeng's strong waist. She raised her head, driving Yi Qinfeng's whole body to rotate. The undulating twin peaks kept jumping in front of Yi Qinfeng, as if calling him to taste them. "Shui Hanyan, I order you to stop." Yi Qinfeng was also a young and vigorous man. The temptation of Shui Hanyan made him on the verge of cold collapse, and he said in a commanding tone, "Qingfeng, do you want me now?" Shui Hanyan's seductive waist slightly exerted force and pulled her body up. She pressed herself against Yi Qinfeng's chest and put her red lips next to Yi Qinfeng's ear, asking seductively, "Shui Hanyan, I advise you to stop forcing me. If worse comes to worst, we'll fight to the death." Yi Qinfeng guessed that Shui Hanyan was doing this for everyone to see. She wanted to use them to spread the news of their relationship and make the Thousand Tribulation sect give up. "Yi Qinfeng, you're too boring." Shui Hanyan gently bit Yi Qinfeng's earlobe and said, "But this doesn't stop me from liking you. Now, can you give me an answer? If your answer satisfies me, I'll leave immediately. If you win, I'll agree to your request, but you have to fulfill your promise." Yi Qinfeng knew that he really had no choice. Once his identity was exposed, the consequences would be very serious, and it would affect his plan to ascend to the Qingyun realm. Helpless, he compromised. "I knew you would agree." After saying that, Shui Hanyan ignored the gazes of the surrounding people and fiercely kissed Yi Qinfeng's cheek. Then, she left Yi Qinfeng's body like a proud peacock and turned around to leave. The scene just now was too embarrassing. After Shui Hanyan left, Yi Qinfeng didn't want to stay any longer and wanted to leave. Suddenly, the four dancers approached Yi Qinfeng with the music. They surrounded him and twisted their sexy bodies. While they were dancing, a refreshing fragrance drifted out and kept drilling into Yi Qinfeng's nose. Accidentally inhaling a lot of fragrance, Yi Qinfeng's reaction suddenly showed a trace of hesitation. He suddenly became alert. Whoosh! Whoosh! Not good. Xian Hongzheng didn't expect that the Phantom Assassins would be so daring. When the Sky Hall declared war on the Phantom Assassins, they still dared to sneak into the Fire God City and assassinate Yi Qinfeng right under their noses. However, the timing of the four dancers' assassination was too good. The attack speed of the 8 Annihilation Pearls was also extremely fast. Xian Hongzheng and the others were unable to help Yi Qinfeng resolve the crisis. Boom! 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 After the loud boom, the explosive force that was like a volcanic eruption directly swallowed Yi Qinfeng and crazily destroyed his body. Glazed Flame Profound Armor Defense at the crucial moment. Yi Qinfeng summoned the Quasi-Saint artifact, Glazed Flame Profound Armor, the tyrannical dragon gave him. It protected his entire body and blocked the attack of the 4 Annihilation Pearls. After blocking the most powerful attack, Yi Qinfeng's entire body exploded with a powerful Tao intent. He wanted to tear through the annihilation storm and escape. At this moment, the 4 phantom assassins who had exposed their identities suddenly charged into the annihilation storm, not giving Yi Qinfeng the chance to break out. In the next moment, they suddenly self-destructed and used their lives to launch a suicide attack on Yi Qinfeng. Although the glazed flame profound armor's defense was terrifying, it was still unable to withstand the self-destruction of the 4 phantom assassins. It continuously damaged Yi Qinfeng's body. Fortunately, his physical defense was strong enough to withstand the fatal attack and only suffered light injuries. At this moment, a Tao intent hand descended from the sky and directly tore apart the annihilation storm that was getting more and more intense. It forcefully isolated the space around Yi Qinfeng's body and grabbed him out of the annihilation storm. Following that, a large bell that was covered with ancient runes appeared in the fire god shrine. It forcefully suppressed the wanton annihilation storm. "Fengchen, how are you?" Xian Hongzheng asked with concern as he looked at Yi Qinfeng, who was wearing the glazed flame profound armor with blood at the corner of his mouth. "Hall Master Xian, I'm fine. After resting for a few days, my injuries should be healed," Yi Qinfeng said slowly with a pale face. However, his injuries were far lighter than what he showed. The reason why he faked his injuries was because the scene just now was too embarrassing and made him want to leave as soon as possible. During the safe period, you can recuperate in the fire god world for a period of time. There, even Nirvana Heavenly Realm Almighty can forget about harming you. Xian Hongzheng promised apologetically. "All right." Yi Qinfeng nodded and said, "Great Elder, send Feng Qin to the fire god world." As he spoke, Xian Hongzheng let Great Elder Xian Zhongting bring Yi Qinfeng to the fire god world while he stayed behind to clean up the mess. Very quickly, the fire god shrine that was bustling with noise and excitement just now became cold and cheerless. All the major forces left with different feelings. When Surging Devil King left, he promised the Heavenly Palace that the Octahead Divine Nation would help the Heavenly Palace to eradicate the Phantom. He also let Xian Hongzheng pass a message to Yi Qinfeng that the Octahead Divine Nation would welcome him at any time. The assassination happened again. But who was the real culprit behind the scenes? No one knew if the 4 assassins who tried to assassinate Yi Qinfeng this time were the Phantom assassins. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1205. Fengchen, this is a vitality pill refined by my sky hull. Quickly consume it. It will be beneficial for your recovery. Arriving at a large palace in the fire god realm, Xian Zhongting took out a milky white vitality pill that emitted a dense medicinal fragrance and gave it to Yi Qinfeng. "Thank you, Great Elder." Yi Qinfeng thanked him softly and accepted the vitality pill. "Feng Chen, recuperate well. If you need anything, you can find me anytime." Xian Zhongting left behind a communication pearl that could be used to contact him and was about to leave. "Great Elder, I still have a friend in Senior Dao Addict's ancient courtyard. Senior, can you bring her over and take good care of her?" Yi Qinfeng didn't expect such an unforeseen event to happen today. He didn't plan to return to the ancient courtyard. He wanted the Sky Hall's people to bring the pitiful Zhou family girl over. No problem. Xian Zhongting agreed happily and immediately ordered people to bring the Zhou family girl over. After Xian Zhongting left, Yi Qinfeng immediately set up a soundproof restriction in the quiet room, filled with heavenly spiritual energy. He consumed the vitality pill and recovered his physical injuries. The vitality pill's quality had reached the peak of the great Tao pill. Its recovery ability was extremely strong. In addition, the life energy from the life spirit pearl continuously fused into Yi Qinfeng's body. In less than an incense stick's time, Yi Qinfeng recovered from his physical injuries. He took out a jade slip and used the power of the God-Eater brain to imprint the 8 arms sacred refining technique on it. Time passed day by day. The various major forces that came to participate in the competition left Fire God City, one after another. The noisy Fire God City also gradually quieted down. Following their departure, Feng Chen's name began to spread throughout the Central World. More and more people knew that a stunning genius had appeared in the alchemy competition. He had refined a saint pill and a saint artifact, suppressing many saint masters and becoming the double champion of the competition. Some people admired Yi Qinfeng's alchemy skills, while others were jealous. After failing to rope in Yi Qinfeng, the Nine Heavens Divine Nation and the Kirin Kingdom deliberately spread the news of Yi Qinfeng's gains from the competition through various channels. It was like a huge rock that caused a huge uproar. The Earth Fate fruit, Death Substitution wood, Amethyst Dragon Emperor Ginseng, Soul Accumulation Heavenly Wood, and several saint pellets were all priceless treasures that pushed Yi Qinfeng to the edge of the waves, causing many Nirvana realm experts to come out from their seclusion and set up a large number of spies around the Fire God City, waiting for Yi Qinfeng to come out so that they could kill him and seize his treasures. Yi Qinfeng had become the center of attention in the Central World because of the alchemy competition. The Heavenly Hall had mobilized a terrifying force to attack the Phantom Branch Helm, which had become another center of attention in the Central World. Although the Phantom Branch Helm was one of the 2 major assassin organizations in the Central World that struck fear in people's hearts, the Heavenly Hall's foundation was too deep and their rallying power was unimaginable. Many Nirvana realm old monsters were willing to work for them. Under the Heavenly Hall's crazy revenge, many Phantom Branch Helm were destroyed, and the Phantom Branch Helm suffered heavy losses. Just as the Central World fell into chaos because of Yi Qinfeng, the person involved, Yi Qinfeng, had eliminated all distracting thoughts and comprehended the Heaven and Earth Tao tablet that he had obtained from the Tao addict. Under the God-Eater brain's deduction, Yi Qinfeng's understanding of the Heaven and Earth Tao tablet grew deeper and deeper. Mysterious Tao patterns were engraved in the God-Eater brain, increasing the Heaven and Earth Tao intent. Finally, Yi Qinfeng comprehended the Heaven and Earth Tao tablet for 18 days without rest. The God-Eater brain finally deduced the complete Tao intent of the Heaven and Earth Tao tablet and cultivated 100 Tao patterns, forming a powerful Heaven and Earth Tao diagram. Phew! I finally cultivated the Heaven and Earth Tao diagram to perfection. Yi Qinfeng heaved a long sigh of relief. He put away the Heaven and Earth Tao tablet, whose power of Tao had greatly weakened, into the universe mirror. He rested for a while and did not cultivate any other mystical abilities. He dispelled the soundproof restriction and came to the outside world. Sensing that Yi Qinfeng had come out of seclusion, Xian Hongzheng and the others who were cultivating in the Fire God world immediately sensed it and appeared at the first moment. Feng Chen, are your injuries okay? Xian Hongzheng asked with concern. Thank you for your concern, Hall Master Xian. My injuries have already healed. Yi Qinfeng smiled and said, This jade scroll contains the 8-armed saint refining technique that I have engraved in the past few days. Hall Master Xian can check it. There is no need to check. We trust you. Xian Hongzheng kept the jade scroll and said, Feng Qin, in your current state, can you help us refine pills? No problem, Yi Qinfeng said without hesitation. Good, then come with me. After he finished speaking, Xian Hong brought Yi Qinfeng to the deepest part of the Fire God realm. It was a sea of fire that burned with black flames, and in the center of the sea of fire stood a strange craggy rock that was several meters tall. A white-haired old man sat cross-legged on the rock. This white-haired old man was the same as the withered old man outside the treasure trove palace. There was no trace of life on his body, as if he had already passed away. However, when Yi Qinfeng stared at him from afar, he felt that his withered old body seemed to contain a vast power like a vast ocean. Grand Elder, Feng Chen's injuries have healed. I brought him here. Xian Hongzheng bowed deeply to the statue-like, white-haired old man sitting in the middle of the Black Sea of Fire and said respectfully, Buzz, hearing Xian Hongzheng's voice. The statue-like, white-haired old man suddenly opened his eyes. The moment he opened his eyes, the raging sea of fire instantly quieted down. The flames were suppressed to less than half a meter. In the next moment, the white-haired old man strangely disappeared from the craggy rock and appeared in front of Yi Qinfeng in the blink of an eye. Feng Qin, have you been to the Xingluo continent? The white-haired old man looked deeply at Yi Qinfeng with his turbid eyes and said with an ancient voice, Yes. Yi Qinfeng's expression slightly changed. He didn't expect that the white-haired old man's first sentence would involve the Xingluo continent. Don't be nervous, don't be afraid. I don't have any evil intentions. I just want to confirm one thing. The white-haired old man caught the change in Yi Qinfeng's expression and revealed a faint smile on his wrinkled face. Senior Luotian, are you well? Senior, Yi Qinfeng's pupils shrunk. A huge wave surged in his heart. He didn't expect that the white-haired old man would not only mention the Xingluo continent, but also Luotian. Several thoughts flashed through his mind. Senior, you know Senior Luotian? Suppressing the shock in his heart, Yi Qinfeng met the white-haired old man's sharp gaze and asked. The white-haired old man frowned slightly and said with some surprise, Senior Luotian is not your master. I do know Senior Luotian, but he is not my master. Thinking of Luotian's identity and inheritance of the heavenly palace, Yi Qinfeng connected them together and made some guesses. The Duhan continent was indeed full of crouching tigers and hidden dragons. I was a bit narrow-minded. The white-haired old man sighed and said, Senior Luotian, are you well? Senior Luotian is very well. If you want to find Senior Luotian, you can go to the Xingluo continent. Yi Qinfeng told the white-haired old man where Luotian lived. Thank you. I will definitely visit Senior Luotian if I have the chance. The white-haired old man showed a trace of gratitude and didn't ask about Yi Qinfeng's other secrets. Feng Qin, I think Hongzheng has already told you the reason why we invited you here. The white-haired old man withdrew the sharpness in his eyes and looked kindly at Yi Qinfeng. Palace Master Xian has already told me. Yi Qinfeng nodded and said, That's good. We need your alchemy skills to improve the quality of the elixirs to refine the 10 patterns sacred elixir. But no matter the success or failure, the Heavenly Palace will thank you. Don't worry, since I have already promised Palace Master Xian, I will do my best to refine the 10 patterns sacred elixir. Yi Qinfeng nodded and promised. Good, then let's go to the 9-layer fire cave and prepare to refine the elixir. After speaking, the white-haired old man led Yi Qinfeng and Xian Hongzheng out of the fire god realm and into the 9-layer fire cave, one of the forbidden areas of the Heavenly Palace. Mobile reading site, book address. To make it easier for you to read it next time, you can click Save at the bottom to record this reading record. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1206. Junior, we meet again. When he arrived at the blazing 9-fold fire cavern, an old man with fiery red hair and wearing a fiery red robe appeared in front of him. He spoke in a deep voice. Senior. Looking at the unfamiliar face of the red-haired old man, Yi Qinfeng frowned slightly. He couldn't remember where he had seen him before. Do you still remember the saint pill you obtained in the 7-fold inferno? That saint pill was moved here by I from the 9-fold inferno as a reward. You were even more outstanding and received that reward. Elder Hua, whose face was flushed, said slowly, Senior is the weapon spirit of the 9-fold inferno. Yi Qinfeng immediately guessed Elder Hua's identity. It also confirmed his guess that the saint pill was deliberately moved here by someone. Yes, I am the weapon spirit of the 9-fold inferno. You can call me Elder Hua. Elder Hua nodded. Let's go. I'll take you to the 9-fold inferno. At that time, I'll mobilize the flames in the ninefold inferno to help you refine the pill." After speaking, Elder Ho pointed his finger in the air. A black passage appeared in the ninefold inferno, extending directly to the end of the inferno. When Yi Chen-feng and the other two passed through the black passage and entered the ninefold inferno, which was burning with black and white flames. The temperature was so high that it could melt ordinary, low-grade Dao weapons. Deputy Palace Master Xian Qingyin and the others were already waiting for them. In addition to Xian Qingyin and the other sky palaces, 5 big shots, the unfathomable withered-haired old man guarding the treasury, also appeared in the ninefold inferno. In order to refine the 10-pattern saint pill, Sky Palace's top saint masters were all dispatched. Obviously, the 10-pattern saint pill they were going to refine was of great significance to Sky Palace. After Yi Chen-feng paid his respects to the withered-haired old man and the others, Xianhong handed over a sealed jade slip to Yi Chen-feng and said, "Feng Qin, inside this jade slip is the rising from the ashes Dan that we are preparing to concoct. First familiarize yourself with the Dan recipe, then familiarize yourself with the medicinal herbs." Okay, Yi Chen-feng took the jade slip and released his soul power. He quickly browsed through the pill recipe for the fiery rebirth pill. The fiery rebirth elixir was a top-notch, low-grade sacred elixir. Its greatest effect was to rejuvenate an almighty who was nearing the end of their lifespan and increase their lifespan by more than 10,000 years. The effects of the rebirth pill were very miraculous, but the side effects were also great. Unless the most perfect 10-pattern saint pill was refined, the rebirth pill below 10 patterns would contain powerful pill toxins. Borrowing the power of the rebirth pill to rejuvenate one's youth would cause great side effects and greatly affect one's strength after rebirth. A few decades ago, the Sky Hall had tried to refine the rising from the ashes pill and succeeded in refining it. However, they had spent a lot of effort to refine the 5-patterned rising from the ashes pill. In the end, they did not dare to consume it. Instead, they sold it to a Nirvana realm master who was nearing the end of his lifespan. Although that mighty being had regained his youth after taking the 5-patterned fiery rebirth pill and increased his lifespan by more than 10,000 years, he was affected by the pill poison of the fiery rebirth pill. After his rebirth, his strength was greatly reduced and he fell to nirvana. His body was also left with injuries that could not be healed. In the end, when the Grand Clear Sky used the Heaven Realm Gate to attack Nirvana, he died in the apocalyptic heavenly punishment. As Yi Chen-feng browsed through the Rising from the Ashes pill recipe, a Rising from the Ashes pill recipe suddenly appeared in the God Eater's mind. However, this pill recipe was not exactly the same as the Sky Hall's pill recipe. It had 4 more main ingredients. Hall Master Xian, seniors, where did you get this Rising from the Ashes pill recipe? Is it complete? Yi Chen-feng opened his tightly shut eyes and asked, "Why? Do you think there's a problem with this pill recipe?" Xian Hongzheng looked at Yi Chen-feng in surprise and asked in a low voice, "If I remember correctly, Master had also passed down a pill formula for the flame rebirth pill to me. However, the pill formula that Master passed down to me has 4 more main ingredients compared to this pill formula. The God Eater's brain was all-encompassing and had many unimaginable inheritances. Comparing the 2 pill recipes, Yi Chen-feng believed that the pill recipe that appeared in the God Eater's mind should be complete, while the Sky Hall's pill recipe was incomplete. What are the 4 extra main ingredients?" Xian Hongzheng and the others looked at each other and quickly asked. "Blood lotus essence, spirit red fruit, and snakes don't eat grass." Tianlingzi, Yi Chen-feng said indifferently. "What do you think?" The white-haired Grand Elder Xian Fenghua said slowly as he pondered over the 4 main ingredients that Yi Chen-feng mentioned. There were more than 1,000 heaven and earth spirit herbs needed to refine the Rising from the Ashes pill. It was really difficult to distinguish. Xian Hongzheng said with a solemn expression, "Hall Master Xian, have you refined the Rising from the Ashes pill before?" Yi Qinfeng looked at Xian Hongzheng and the others, who had solemn expressions and were secretly transmitting messages. Several decades ago, we refined the rising from the ashes pill once. That time we refined it for 49 days. Almost all the steps were done to the extreme. After passing the pill tribulation, we refined the rising from the ashes pill. However, that time we only refined the 5 rune rising from the ashes pill. At that time, we did suspect that the rising from the ashes pill recipe that we had was incomplete. Xian Hongzheng said truthfully, "Hall, Master Xian, do you know if the Sky Hall has the 4 main ingredients that I just mentioned?" After listening to Xian Hongzheng's explanation, Yi Qinfeng was even more convinced that the pill recipe that appeared in God Eater's mind was the complete recipe for the rising from the ashes pill. Fengchen, the Sky Hall does have the 4 heaven and earth spirit herbs that you mentioned, but we really don't dare to take the risk. Xian Hongzheng took a deep breath and said hesitantly, "Hall, Master Xian, do you know if there is a big difference between the 10 rune rising from the 10 rune rising from the rising from 10 rune rising from 10 rune rising from the ashes pill?" Yi Qinfeng thought for a moment and asked, "Very big. There are too many heaven and earth spirit herbs needed to refine the rising from the ashes pill, causing the pill to contain a large amount of pill poison. Only the perfect 10 rune rising from the ashes pill will not produce pill poison. This is also the reason why we insist on refining the 10 rune rising from the ashes pill. If we can't refine the rising from the ashes pill to the perfect quality, there is a high possibility of accidents during the rising from the ashes pill," Xian Hongzheng said. "In that case, I feel that this risk is worth it," Yi Qinfeng said. "Although I can improve the quality of the pill if it is an incomplete pill recipe, then I can't do anything. However, I believe that the pill recipe that my master passed down to me is not a problem. I just don't know if you seniors are willing to take this risk. Fengchen, this is not a small matter. Can you let us discuss this?" Xian Hongzheng didn't dare to make a decision on his own, so he prepared to discuss it with Xian Fengruo and the others. "There is no need to discuss. I agree with Fengchen. This risk is worth it." "Grand Elder Xian," Fengruo slowly said. "That's right. Actually, with Fengchen's help, our chances of refining the 10 rune rising from the ashes pill is only 10%. Rather than that, why don't we take a gamble? If Master Fengchen has the complete pill recipe, then our chances of refining the 10 rune rising from the ashes pill will greatly increase." Grand Elder Xian Fengshi, who was guarding the treasure pavilion, nodded and agreed. "Since the 2 Grand Elders have no objections, then I will immediately go and get the 4 heaven and earth spirit herbs that Fengchen mentioned." Xian Hongzheng was also a decisive person. He quickly left the 9-layer fire cave and went to the hidden medicine hall to get the spirit herbs. When Xian Hongzheng left, Xian Fengruo took out the 1,000+ heaven and earth spirit herbs needed to refine the fire rising from the ashes pill, allowing Yi Qinfeng to familiarize himself with the medicinal properties of these heaven and earth spirit herbs. After a while, Xian Hongzheng returned with the blood lotus essence and the other 3 heaven and earth spirit herbs. He waited for Yi Qinfeng to completely familiarize himself with the medicinal properties of the 1,000+ heaven and earth spirit herbs. And this time, would Yi Qinfeng's risky move continue the miracle? Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. The next time you open the bookshelf, you will see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1207. The Rebirth Pill is one of the best low-grade saint pills. It takes a long time to refine. Fengchen, you must be prepared to refine it for a long time. Xian Fengruo looked at Yi Qinfeng, who was not even a fraction of his age, and said solemnly. He gave him a small bottle of soul-returning liquid. "Don't worry, senior. I will definitely be able to hold on." Yi Qinfeng took a deep breath and swore solemnly. He kept a mouthful of soul-returning liquid in his mouth, just in case he needed it. Elder Hua, you're in trouble. After Yi Qinfeng familiarized himself with the medicinal properties, Xian Hongzheng did not waste any more time. He nodded at Elder Hua and said in a low voice, "Of course." After he finished speaking, Elder Hua's body shone with a dazzling red light. He mobilized the black and white flames in the ninefold flame cauldron, which was comparable to Saint Fire, to burn fiercely. A three-legged red cauldron with 9 ancient runes appeared in the sea of fire, releasing an ancient and vigorous qi. It hung over everyone's heads. This three-legged red cauldron was the original form of the ninefold flame cauldron. It was also the source of the ninefold flame cauldron. What a terrifying cauldron! The grade of this cauldron probably surpassed Yao Yan's Holy Sovereign Cauldron. Feeling the power of the ninefold sacred cauldron, Yi Qinfeng's eyes shone. He was amazed by the Sky Hall's foundation. They actually had a cauldron that was suspected to be a high-grade saint treasure. Open. After summoning the ninefold sacred cauldron, Elder Hua immediately opened the cauldron lid that was as heavy as a mountain. Suddenly, a violent flame power gushed out from the ninefold sacred cauldron like a volcanic eruption. Feng Qin, among the 1,000 spiritual herbs, the metal attribute spiritual herbs are the rarest. I'll leave them to you to refine. The rest of the spiritual herbs will be left to us. We have a clear division of labor. After refining all the spiritual herbs, we'll condense the pills together. Xian Fengrua looked at Yi Qinfeng and assigned the tasks. Okay. Yi Qinfeng nodded and quickly memorized more than 80 metal attribute spiritual herbs. He prepared to refine the pills. All right, everyone prepare according to the division of labor. After an incense stick of time, we will begin the refining. Xian Fengrua took a deep breath and said with a dignified expression, Xian Feng Rua and Xian Feng, she had already lived for close to 100,000 years. Their lifespans were almost dried up. The flame rebirth pill was refined precisely for the two of them. It could be said that the success or failure of the pill refinement this time was directly related to their fates. If they could extend their lifespans for another 10,000 years, they could continue to intimidate the 3 divine nations. At that time, Xian Hongzheng and the others would have a chance to reach the limit of the Nirvana heavenly realm. At that time, they could rest assured and pass away. 30 minutes passed in the blink of an eye. When the time was up, Yi Qinfeng and the others, who were quietly adjusting their breathing, opened their eyes and looked at the ancient 9-level sacred cauldron hovering in the air. Begin to refine pill. Xian Fenghua took a deep breath, and a dark golden flame flew out of his body like a burning fire dragon and entered the 9-layer sacred cauldron. The dark golden flame that Xian Fengrua summoned was known as the number 1 sacred flame in the central world, the ancient sacred flame. It had almost reached the level of an ancient sacred flame. When the ancient sacred flame entered the 9-layer sacred cauldron, the 9 sacred weapon runes on the surface of the sacred cauldron lit up. Under the control of Elder Hua, the black and white flames in the 9-level cauldron madly merged with the 9 sacred weapon runes, increasing the power of the ancient sacred flame. Go! The flame in the 9-layer sacred cauldron had reached its limit. Xian Fengrua swung his sleeve, and hundreds of spiritual herbs flew out of his sleeve and into the blazing sacred cauldron. At this time, Yi Qinfeng and the others who were experienced in alchemy did not need to be reminded. They all released their powerful soul power into the 9-layer sacred cauldron, controlling the ancient sacred flame in the cauldron and purifying the spiritual herbs according to the distribution. The temperature of the ancient sacred flame was too high. In the blink of an eye, hundreds of spiritual herbs withered and melted. At this time, everyone used exquisite fire control techniques to fuse drops of pure spiritual liquid together, and with the help of the ancient sacred flame, the impurities were burned and purified. Suddenly, a strong medicinal fragrance filled the air, drifting in the 9-layer cauldron. After a day or so, Yi Chen Feng and the others successfully purified more than 100 kinds of heaven and earth spirit herbs. Following that, Xian Feng Ruo threw another 100 kinds of heaven and earth spirit herbs into the 9-layer holy cauldron to continue the purification process. As the number of spiritual herbs in the 9-layer cauldron increased, the faces of Xian Feng Ruo and the others became more and more solemn. However, at this time, they did not dare to be distracted. They concentrated on purifying the spiritual herbs one by one, not daring to make the slightest mistake. Roughly 9 days later, the 1,000+ stalks of heaven and earth spiritual herbs were all successfully purified. Under the control of Yi Chen Feng and the others, they merged together. After the perfect purification, Xian Feng Ruo and the others breathed a sigh of relief. They quickly consumed the soul-returning liquid in their mouths to recover their soul power. Then they began the most crucial and also the most difficult process of condensing the elixir. According to the 5 elements, light and darkness, they began to fuse the liquid essences. Wood spiritual liquid, fire spiritual liquid, earth spiritual liquid, metal spiritual liquid, water spiritual liquid, light spiritual liquid, and dark spiritual liquid were all fused together. Under the command of Xian Feng Ruo's mind, balls of spiritual liquid essences fused together, and the medicinal fragrance became even stronger. After a day, all the liquid essences were condensed into a fist-sized embryonic form of the elixir, starting to condense the elixir markings. After the liquid essences fused perfectly, Xian Feng Ruo secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Together with the others, they began to condense the mysterious elixir markings, fusing them into the embryonic form of the elixir through the 9-layer sacred cauldron. Life force fuse. When Yi Chen Feng was condensing the elixir markings, he controlled the life spiritual pearl to continuously drop a large amount of life force into the embryonic form of the elixir, stimulating the medicinal properties of the elixir and increasing the quality of the elixir. While the others were condensing the elixir markings, Elder Hu also mobilized the black and white flames in the 9-layer fire cauldron to increase the power of the ancient sacred fire and increase the speed of condensing the elixir. Although Yi Chen Feng's soul was strong, after a long period of high-intensity refining, he still felt a little powerless. Fortunately, he had enough soul-returning liquid. With the help of the soul-returning liquid, Yi Chen Feng's soul power continued to recover. He gritted his teeth and persisted. Crack! When 40 days had passed, a crack suddenly appeared on the fiery rebirth elixir that was constantly being condensed and fused with a large amount of life force. As the crack became bigger and bigger, more and more sacred elixir markings were fused. The fiery rebirth elixir split into 2 halves, turning into 2 fiery rebirth elixirs. This change made Xian Feng Ruo and the others ecstatic. They knew that the reason why the fiery rebirth elixir split so quickly was because Yi Chen Feng was condensing the elixir markings that contained life force. When the fiery rebirth elixir split into 2, it greatly increased the difficulty of refining the elixir. Yi Chen Feng and the others could only multitask, condensing the mysterious elixir markings into the 2 fiery rebirth elixirs at the same time. As Yi Chen Feng and the others spared no effort to refine, the 2 fiery rebirth elixirs that were slowly taking shape began to have elixir markings. With the appearance of the elixir markings, the quality of the fiery rebirth elixir increased, and the difficulty of refining it also increased. Finally, when Yi Chen Feng and the others reached the 50th day of refining, the 2 fiery rebirth elixirs had the 5th elixir markings. Endless dark clouds rushed in from all directions, covering the bright and beautiful sunlight. Above the 9-layer fire cauldron, thick tribulation clouds gathered. Countless lightning flashed in the tribulation clouds, as if the end of the world had arrived. Mobile reading site. Book address. In order to facilitate your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. The next time you open the bookshelf, You will see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1208. Elder Hua. Seal the ninefold flame cave and isolate the aura of the flame rebirth pill. Although the quality of the pill would be better with the help of the pill tribulation, the risk of refining pills during the pill tribulation was too high. It was easy to make some small mistakes. Refining a pill like the flame rebirth pill, any small mistake could lead to failure. Therefore, Xian Fengrua asked Elder Hua to completely seal the ninefold flame cave and isolate the space. She wanted to buy as much time as possible to continue improving the quality of the flame rebirth pill. The spiritual pearl of life sped up the power of life. Time was of the essence. Yi Qinfeng spared no effort to control the spiritual pearl of life, to crazily drop the power of life into the pill patterns and into the ninefold sacred cauldron. Under everyone's accelerated refinement, the sixth pill pattern appeared in the two flame rebirth pills. Sure enough, Master Feng Chen's prescription was complete. When the sixth pill pattern appeared, Xian Fengrua and the rest knew that they had made the right bet. Their hearts were filled with gratitude to Yi Qinfeng and were very glad that they had asked him for help. Without the complete prescription, Xian Fengrua and the rest knew that no matter how hard they tried, it would be impossible to refine the flame rebirth pill to the sixth pill pattern. Elder Hua, how long can the ninefold flame cave seal the space to prevent the pill tribulation from forming the sixth pill pattern? Xian Fengrua immediately asked Elder Hua. The higher the quality of the flame rebirth pill, the more difficult it is to seal it. I estimate that I can only delay it for about 5 days, Elder Hua said solemnly. 5 days should be enough to refine the flame rebirth pill to the 8th or even 9th pill pattern. Xian Fengrua thought for a while and muttered to herself. Everyone tried their best to refine the pill patterns and improve the quality of the two flame rebirth pills before the pill tribulation descended. Xian Fengrua swallowed a small mouthful of soul-returning liquid to recover her consumed soul power. She reminded everyone to get rid of all distracting thoughts and try her best to speed up the refinement of the pill patterns. Although the aura of the two flame rebirth pills was forcibly isolated by Elder Hua using the power of the ninefold flame cave, the tribulation clouds above the ninefold flame cave were getting thicker and thicker. The power of the pill tribulation was getting stronger and stronger. The tribulation clouds surged like a tide and gathered quickly. The terrifying power put the entire Fire God City under great pressure. Just what was going on? Who was so bold as to undergo tribulation in Fire God City? Many residents of Fire God City who did not know what was going on looked at the rolling tribulation clouds in the sky that were several 100 feet thick. Their expressions changed drastically as they started to discuss among themselves. It shouldn't be someone undergoing tribulation, but someone refining pills in the ninefold flame cave. Could it be that the hall masters and the others were concocting pills in the 9-layered flame caves? What kind of pills were the hall masters and the others concocting this time? To think that it would attract such a terrifying pill tribulation. Looking at the increasingly intense tribulation clouds in the sky, the residents of the Fire God City became excited. Almost everyone appeared on the streets, wanting to witness the shocking scene of the pill tribulation descending. 2 days to condense the 7th pill mark, and 5 days to condense the 8th pill mark. However, the remaining 2 pill marks would probably have to be condensed under the pill tribulation of destruction. Feeling that the 9-layered inferno cave's restriction was trembling more and more violently, Xian Fengrua and the others guessed that the pill tribulation attracted by the 2 rebirth pills was not ordinary. Their faces became more and more dignified. Success or failure depended on the final battle, the 8th pill mark. On the 5th day, Yi Qinfeng and the others successfully condensed the 8th pill mark. However, at this time, the 9-layered Inferno Cave's restriction could no longer withstand the increasing pressure of the pill tribulation and was filled with crisscrossing cracks. The 9-layered Inferno Caves restriction seal is about to be broken. Prepare yourselves to withstand the baptism of the first pill tribulation. Because the pill tribulation outside has been accumulating for a long time, the might of the first pill tribulation is probably very strong. However, I will do my best to help you weaken the power of the pill tribulation. However, you must also prepare yourselves to face the pill tribulation. Elder Hua's heavy voice resounded in everyone's ears. All right, Elder Hua, open the 9-layered Inferno Caves restriction. Xian Fengrua and the others were ready. They condensed powerful Dao diagrams and summoned their saint treasures, preparing to forcefully dissolve the first pill tribulation's attack. Rumble, the restriction disappeared, and a loud explosion like that of a huge bell exploded in the sky, resounding across the horizon. Many residents of the Fire God City who were not strong enough heard this terrifying sound and were so scared that their legs trembled and they sat on the ground. After accumulating for several days, the pill tribulation's power had reached an extremely terrifying level. It was like an enraged dragon that broke through the several hundred feet thick tribulation clouds. It carried a power that could destroy the world and bombarded the 9-layered sacred cauldron. It wanted to destroy the 8 pill marks in the sacred cauldron, which should not have been born in this world. The 9-layered Inferno Caves flame attack. The 5 elements supported each other and fire restrained metal. When the pill tribulation, which was strong enough to kill a Nirvana heavenly realm cultivator, descended, Elder Hua immediately controlled the power of the 9-layered Inferno Cave to meet it. Endless flames gathered together and turned into pillars of fire that soared into the sky, sealing the Inferno Cave space and neutralizing the power of the pill tribulation. However, the power of the pill tribulation, which had been accumulating for several days, exceeded Elder Hua's imagination. The raging dragon-like pill tribulation smashed the pillars of fire that soared into the sky, tearing apart the 9-layered Inferno Cave and bombarding the 9-layered sacred cauldron with its remaining power. Not good. Xian Fengrua and the others did not expect that the pill tribulation attracted by the flame rebirth pill would be so terrifying. It easily tore apart the obstruction of the 9-layered Inferno Cave. They all summoned powerful sacred treasures to seal the space and forcibly weaken the power of the pill tribulation. Although the sacred treasures summoned by Xian Fengrua and the others were extremely high level and contained the power to destroy heaven and earth, at this moment they could only exert about 10% of their respective sacred treasures' attack. In the blink of an eye, the sacred treasures summoned by Xian Fengrua and the others were blasted away by the terrifying pill tribulation. The pill tribulation, which still had 40% of its power, bombarded the 9-layered sacred cauldron, wanting to destroy the 8-mark flame rebirth pill that should not have existed in this world. The power of the world, what a terrifying power of the world! The moment the pill tribulation descended, Yi Qinfeng's keen perception felt the power of the world in the pill tribulation. After hesitating for a moment, he summoned the indestructible sword puppet and appeared on the 9-layered sacred cauldron, using its own body to resist the attack of the power of the world. Rumble. The remaining 40% of the pill tribulation bombarded the sword puppet's body, quickly depleting the sword puppet's energy. The terrifying pill tribulation was blocked by the sword puppet, and the attack power contained in it plummeted. Only 20% of its power passed through the 9-layered sacred cauldron and entered the cauldron, refining the pill tribulation. Xian Fengrua and the others looked at Yi Qinfeng in surprise, but at this moment they could not afford to be distracted. They continued to condense sacred elixir patterns, refining the pill tribulation and improving the quality of the 2 flame rebirth pills. The first pill tribulation was dissolved by everyone's concerted efforts, and the violently tumbling tribulation clouds continued to descend one after another. However, the first pill tribulation released a large amount of accumulated power of the world, causing the power of the following pill tribulation to decrease. Everyone worked together and controlled the power of the pill tribulation very well, borrowing about 10% of the pill tribulation's power to continuously improve the two-flame rebirth pills. Finally, under the huge pressure and under the crazy attack of the pill tribulation, everyone spent half a day or so to finally refine the two-flame rebirth pills to the 9-patterned quality. There was only one more to reach the perfect 10-pattern pill. However, as the two-flame rebirth pills reached the 9-pattern quality, the power of the pill tribulation also increased, especially the power of the world that was constantly increasing, which brought a fatal threat to everyone. At this time, the sword puppet that was constantly enduring the pill tribulation's attacks had little power left, and the situation became dangerous again. Mobile reading home, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button below to record this reading record. Next time you open the bookshelf, you will see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1209. Grand Elders, the power of the pill tribulation is increasing too quickly. With our strength, it's already very difficult to control the power of the pill tribulation effectively. If this situation continues, it's very likely that an accident will happen. Why don't we forcefully form the pill? Xian Hongjing's old face revealed a touch of paleness. Enduring the huge pressure, he asked Xian Fengrua and Xian Fengxi, forcefully form the pill at this moment. Xian Fengrua and Xian Fengxi had already seen the hope of condensing the 10 runes rebirth pill. However, they were indeed unable to control the power of the pill tribulation. If they continued to forcefully refine the pill, the 2 9 runes rebirth pills might really be destroyed by the pill tribulation. Palace Master Xian, if you trust me, leave these 2 flame rebirth pills to me alone. You will do your best to resist the pill tribulation. Try your best to limit the might of the pill tribulation to 20%. Yi Qinfeng took a deep breath and suddenly spoke. No, it's too risky. Xian Hongzhang and the rest shook their heads and rejected. At this moment, they didn't dare to take the risk, lest they fail at the last moment. Seniors were only one step away from condensing the 10 runes rebirth pill. Wouldn't it be too regretful to give up like this? Yi Qinfeng said, Fengqin, we want to condense the 10 runes more than you. But the consequences of failure is something our sky hall can't bear. Xian Hongzhang took a deep breath and said in a heavy tone, Seniors, if you can control the power of the pill tribulation, well, this junior has 90% confidence that he can refine the 10 runes rebirth pill alone. Yi Qinfeng knew the significance of the flame rebirth pill to the heavenly hall. Furthermore, he wanted to do the heavenly hall a huge favor. Really? Xian Fengrua, Xian Fengxi, and the rest looked at Yi Qinfeng in disbelief. Trust this junior. At this time, I won't joke about such a big matter. I really have the confidence to refine the 10 runes rebirth pill. Yi Qinfeng nodded and said solemnly, All right, then we'll leave all our hopes to you. We hope that you can create another miracle. Although this bet didn't seem to have a high success rate and was even a little ridiculous, Yi Qinfeng was able to create miracles in the alchemy competition, which was enough to prove his extraordinariness. In addition to his solemn vow, Xian Fengrua and the others finally made up their minds to bet one last time. After making the decision, Xian Zhongting and the others gritted their teeth and stopped condensing the elixir veins one after another. However, Xian Fengrua and the others were still a little worried and were still condensing the elixir veins. They wanted to see what kind of refining technique Yi Qinfeng would use to condense 2 9 runes rebirth elixirs at the same time. Wu Shi Qinfeng took a deep breath and swallowed all the soul-returning liquid in his mouth. His hands were like flowing water as he continuously formed mysterious Saint Pill runes that quickly fused into the 9-layer sacred cauldron. Under the control of Yi Qinfeng's sacred elixir marks, the raging ancient sacred fire spun and formed 2 fire vortexes. They directly swallowed the 2 fire rebirth pills that had 9 elixir marks and were undergoing the baptism of the pill tribulation. What kind of alchemy technique was this? Witnessing the changes in the flames in the sacred cauldron, Xianfeng Ruo and the others' hearts were in turmoil. They had never even heard of such a mysterious alchemy technique, let alone seeing it. Listen to my order. Everyone stop condensing the elixir veins and resist the pill tribulation with all your strength. Try your best to control the power of the pill tribulation to 20%. Xianfeng Ruo looked thoughtfully at Yi Qinfeng, who gave him a great shock. He took a deep breath and ordered. When the Saint Pill runes that Xianfeng Ruo and the others had formed disappeared, Yi Qinfeng immediately felt the pressure. The 2 rebirth pills that were constantly undergoing the pill tribulation showed signs of restlessness, faintly showing signs of losing control. Puff, puff. At this time, Yi Qinfeng continuously spat out 2 mouthfuls of blood essence and fused them into the 9-layer sacred cauldron. He borrowed the power of the blood to forcefully suppress the 2 rebirth pills. At this time, Xianfeng Ruo and the others, regardless of the consumption of their souls, unleashed the power of their sacred treasures to the extreme, completely sealing the space of the 9-layer fire cave. Through layers of peeling off, they controlled the power of the raging, dragon-like pill tribulation to 20%. Elder Hua, increase the power of the flames in the 9-layer sacred cauldron. Yi Qinfeng, who was continuously condensing the whirlpool Saint Pill runes, was multitasking. He shouted at the weapon spirit of the 9-layer fire cave, Elder Hua. Good, leave it to I. Elder Hua nodded and immediately controlled the black and white flames to fuse into the 9-layer sacred cauldron, continuously increasing the power of the ancient sacred fire. After about an incense stick's worth of time, the 2 rebirth pills became restless again, causing Yi Qinfeng to bear a great pressure. Elder Hua, quickly open the lid of the sacred cauldron. Yi Qinfeng clenched his teeth and continued to shout at the fiery flame. What? Hearing Yi Qinfeng's shout, Elder Hua was startled and quickly looked at Xianfeng Ruo and the others. Elder Hua, listen to little friend Feng Qin and open the lid of the sacred cauldron. Although Xianfeng Ruo couldn't understand why Yi Qinfeng would open the lid of the sacred cauldron before the pills were formed, at this moment, they didn't have time to think about it. Xianfeng Ruo shouted, Good. Elder Hua took a deep breath and opened the boiling lid of the sacred cauldron. A large amount of flames emerged from the 9-layer sacred cauldron. At this moment, the 2 restless rebirth pills were about to spit out of the 9-layer sacred cauldron along with the ancient sacred fire. Once the 2 unformed rebirth pills left the 9-layer sacred cauldron and came into contact with the outside air, there was no doubt that the pills would explode. Just when Xianfeng Ruo and the others' hearts almost jumped to their throats, the chaos divine would flew out of Yi Qinfeng's body and directly entered the burning 9-layer sacred cauldron, suppressing the 2 restless rebirth pills. Close the lid. Yi Qinfeng immediately shouted when the chaos divine would successfully enter the 9-layer sacred cauldron. Rumble. With a thought from Elder Hua, the heavy lid of the sacred cauldron was closed again. Then it continued to control the black and white flames to merge into the 9-layer sacred cauldron, helping Yi Qinfeng to reduce the pressure of refining the pills. With the suppression of the chaos divine wood, the 2 rebirth pills were much quieter. Yi Qinfeng's pressure was also reduced by a lot. He continued to condense the sacred elixir patterns that fused with the power of life to refine the 2 rebirth pills. The consumption of refining the 2 rebirth pills was too great. Yi Qinfeng's powerful soul power was quickly depleted. Soon he finished an entire bottle of soul recovery liquid. At this moment, Xianfeng Ruo and the others guided a large amount of soul recovery liquid into his mouth in time to recover his rapidly depleted soul power. Slowly, another 3 days passed. After Yi Qinfeng's continuous efforts, he successfully condensed 9 half-step sacred elixir patterns. He only needed the last half to condense a complete 10-pattern rebirth pill. Come on, you must succeed. Xian Fengrua and the others looked at Yi Qinfeng's trembling body. Their hearts were in their throats, especially when they saw his face getting paler and paler without a trace of blood. Even with Xian Fengrua and the others' calm hearts, they became incomparably nervous. Large amounts of sweat appeared on their foreheads. Rumble. At this moment, the tribulation clouds that were hundreds of feet high resounded with the sound of destructive thunder. The huge tribulation clouds that shrouded the entire fire god city quickly rotated. The last pill, tribulation, broke through the center of the vortex. It was like a destructive force that shattered a large area of the void and directly penetrated the 9-layer fire cave. Mobile reading home, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. The next time you open the bookshelf, you will see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1210. Under the destructive attack of the last pill tribulation, the 9-fold cave of flames that Elder Hua had forcibly sealed was torn apart again. The terrifying pill tribulation's remaining power bombarded the powerful sacred treasures that Xian Fengrua and the others had used to seal the space, setting off boundless waves in the 9-fold cave of flames. Because the power of the last pill tribulation was too terrifying, it was far beyond the imagination of Xian Fengrua and the others. In just an instant, more than 30% of the pill tribulation tore through the sacred treasure's defensive line and bombarded the 9-fold sacred cauldron, wanting to destroy the 2 rebirth pills at the last moment. Not good. Xian Fengrua's expression changed drastically as she released powerful Dao will to attack. But the last pill tribulation's attack speed was too fast, and the Dao will they released was unable to stop it. They could only watch as the terrifying 30% pill tribulation bombarded the 9-fold sacred cauldron. Puff, 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 but when the terrifying pill tribulation entered the 9-fold sacred cauldron, Yi Qinfeng kept spitting out mouthfuls of blood, which merged into the winding sacred elixir patterns and condensed into the 2 rebirth pills. Boom, 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 a series of loud explosions sounded in the 9-fold sacred cauldron, and the cauldron trembled violently. And the hearts of Xian Fengrua and the others also fell to the bottom at this moment. They never thought that the person they were most worried about, Yi Qinfeng, did not let them down. Instead, it was them who failed to control the power of the pill tribulation and failed at the last moment. Just as the thunder in the 9-fold sacred cauldron grew louder and louder, and the 2 rebirth pills were constantly being attacked, Yi Qinfeng controlled the chaos divine would to frantically devour the pill tribulation, trying to reduce the power of the pill tribulation as much as possible. Finally, under the crazy devouring of the chaos divine wood, the 2 rebirth pills were not destroyed by the pill tribulation, and Yi Qinfeng passed the last tribulation. There was no explosion, and the 2 rebirth pills were actually fine under such a terrifying pill tribulation attack. Xian Fengrua and the others were already in despair and fell into deep self-blame. But when the thunder in the 9-fold sacred cauldron disappeared, they were pleasantly surprised to find that the 2 rebirth pills were still there, and there was only a little left to condense the 10 sacred elixir patterns. However, under the destructive attack of the last pill tribulation, the 2 fiery rebirth pills still suffered some damage, and cracks began to appear on them. Spiritual beat of life, Repair Yi Qinfeng ignored the consumption of his soul and continued to refine a large amount of vitality into the saint pill patterns, repairing the cracks on the 2 rising fire rebirth pills. After another day or so, Yi Qinfeng's consciousness began to blur. When he was at his limit, he finally condensed the 10th sacred pill pattern and used the spirit beat of life to completely repair the cracks on the surface of the 2 fire rebirth pills. Puff, puff. Yi Qinfeng, who was at the brink of his limits, kept coughing out blood and fusing it with the 9-layer sacred cauldron. He performed the blood essence pill congealing art and successfully refined 2 10-mark rebirth pills. Bang, the instant the pill was formed, Yi Chen-feng, whose soul force had almost dried up, relaxed. His vision turned black, and he fainted. He didn't know how much time had passed. Was it a day, a month, or even longer? Rays of light shone on Yi Chen-feng's tightly shut eyelids, waking Yi Chen-feng up from his coma. "Young Master Feng, wake up!" When Yi Chen-feng opened his eyes, a pleasantly surprised voice entered his ears. Immediately after, a woman wearing a jade-green dress appeared in front of him. She had long black hair casually draped over her shoulders. Her skin was as smooth as milk, her facial features were exquisite, and she had a pair of intelligent big eyes with 2 sweet dimples on her cheeks. Mississippi looking at the unfamiliar face of the green-dressed girl, Yi Chen-feng rubbed his temples and slowly sat up. "I am Xian Shaoxian, and my grandfather is Xian Hongzhang." The green-dressed girl blinked her beautiful big eyes and looked at Yi Chen-feng with admiration. "So it's Miss Xian," Yi Chen-feng said politely. "I don't deserve to be called Miss Xian. Big Brother Feng, you are the benefactor of my Sky Palace. If you don't mind, you can call me Shaoxian." Xian Shaoxian said sweetly, "Well, Shaoxian, how long have I been unconscious for?" Yi Chen-feng asked with a smile. "Big Brother Feng, your soul was severely overdrawn, and you were unconscious for 4 days and 4 nights. Xian Shaoxian said, 4 days and 4 nights, so long? Yi Chen-feng didn't expect that he would be unconscious for so long. However, he also benefited from overdrawing his soul to refine the pill. After his soul recovered, it improved again. Big Brother Feng, you take a rest first. I will go inform my grandfather and the others." After saying that, the cheerful and cute Xian Shaoxian ran away like a gust of wind. After a while, Xian Fengrua, Xian Fengxi, Xian Hongzhang, and the others came to Yi Chen-feng's room. "Fengchen, we owe you a lot this time. Without your help, we wouldn't have been able to refine 2 10-rune rebirth pills. You have done a great favor for our Sky Palace." Xian Fengrua and the others thanked him from the bottom of their hearts. Without Yi Chen-feng, there wouldn't have been 2 10-rune rebirth pills. Without the pills, Xian Fengrua and Xian Fengxi would have died within 100 years. At that time, Sky Palace's overall strength would have decreased greatly, and it might have caused a series of unforeseen events. Therefore, Yi Chen-feng's favor to Xian Fengrua and Xian Fengxi was undoubtedly a life-saving grace. Seniors are too courteous. Perhaps in the future, this junior will need Sky Palace's help. Yi Chen-feng smiled and said in a neither arrogant nor humble manner, "Fengchen, are you interested in becoming our Sky Palace's honorary elder?" Xian Fengrua asked as he looked at Yi Chen-feng with a kind gaze. "This junior is willing." Yi Chen-feng agreed without hesitation. The reason why he agreed so readily was because he understood the deeper meaning of this identity. Yi Chen-feng would become the honorary elder of the Heavenly Palace, and he would represent the Heavenly Palace. When the time came, any forces that wanted to deal with him would be equivalent to dealing with the Heavenly Palace. At that time, with this reason, Xian Fengrua and the others would stand up for him without any hesitation. Moreover, Sky Palace controlled a huge amount of resources. By becoming Sky Palace's honorary elder, he could use Sky Palace's resources to do many things. Haha, in a few days, our Sky Palace will announce to the whole central world that you have become our Sky Palace's honorary elder. Seeing Yi Chen-feng agree, Xian Fengrua and the others were in a good mood and laughed. "By the way, Fengchen, you have helped Sky Palace so much this time. What do you want?" "As long as you say it, we will try our best to satisfy you," Grand Elder Xian Fengxi said. "Seniors, can I go to the treasure cliff again and choose a few more treasures?" Yi Chen-feng could not forget the terrifying restriction that appeared at the last moment of the treasure cliff. He really wanted to know what kind of treasure it was. Originally, according to the palace rules, you cannot go to the treasure cliff again to choose treasures. But since you have helped Sky Palace, we will break the palace rules this time and allow you to enter and choose 3 more treasures. Xian Fengxi and Xian Fengrua communicated and said. Yi Chenfeng was delighted and said gratefully, "By the way, seniors, I would like to ask you to help me find a few heaven and earth spirit herbs." Xian Hongzheng asked, "I want to refine a kind of elixir. I need ancient heaven profound vine, sun god flower, phoenix blood ganoderma, and other main ingredients. I also want some mid-grade heaven crystals. Does Sky Palace have any?" Yi Chenfeng asked expectantly. "Fengchen, the heaven and earth spirit herbs you want are not cheap, but I can give you 100 mid-grade heaven crystals." Xian Hongzheng said with a smile, "Wait here, I will go check for you. If Sky Palace has any, I will give it to you for free." "Thank you, Palace Master Xian," Yi Chenfeng said gratefully. After a while, Xian Hongzheng came back with a dark gold Qinquan ring in his hand. "Fengchen, the 8 heaven and earth spirit herbs you need are too rare, but other than the phoenix blood ganoderma, we have the rest." Xian Hongzheng gave the Qinquan ring to Yi Chenfeng. Although Yi Chenfeng got another set of main ingredients to refine the heavenly saint breaking pellet, he did not have the phoenix blood ganoderma that he needed the most. Reading website, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the bookmark at the bottom to record this reading record. Next time you open the bookshelf, you will see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1211. 3 days later, a huge piece of news spread throughout the Fire God City, causing a huge uproar in the central world. Watermark advertisement, test watermark advertisement, test what? Fengchen became an honorary elder of the Sky Hall? What was the Sky Hall doing? They were actually protecting Fengchen in public. Could it be that there was some unknown relationship between Fengchen and the Sky Hall? For a time, Fengchen's name spread throughout the central world, becoming the focus of everyone's discussions. Fengchen, because of the restrictions of the Sky Hall, you can only choose 3 treasures from the treasure cliff. You only have 2 hours and I can't help you. Xian Fengxi opened the treasure pavilion that was sealed not long ago and slowly said, 3 treasures were enough. Yi Chenfeng's main goal was the powerful restriction that appeared at the end of the treasure cliff, so 3 chances were enough for him. "Let's go, I'll bring you in." After saying that, Xian Fengxi brought him into the treasure pavilion. After passing through layers of restrictions, they arrived at the end of the treasure pavilion. "Fengchen, get ready. I'm going to open the treasure cliff," Xian Fengxi exhorted. Then open the treasure cliff that was like a light wall. Immediately, the surface of the treasure cliff that was as smooth as a mirror began to distort. A large amount of treasures sealed in restrictions came out one after another, like meteors that streaked across the sky, streaking across the eyes of Yi Chenfeng and the others. Buzz! Buzz! Once the treasure cliff opened, Yi Chenfeng raised the God-Eater brain's deduction ability to the limit and released a powerful soul force to sense the restriction treasures one by one, searching for the target. After about half an incense stick's worth of time, the God-Eater brain that was rapidly deducing sensed a powerful restriction appearing. Yi Chenfeng immediately controlled the sword Dao diagram and life and death Dao diagram to appear on his body, forming a Dao intent giant hand that covered the sky and grabbed at the restriction treasure. Kacha! When the Dao intent giant hand grabbed the restriction treasure, Yi Chenfeng immediately deduced the Dao intent to the limit and grabbed the treasure. The restriction on the surface of the treasure trembled violently and cracked. In the end, the restriction on the surface of the treasure was forcibly shattered by Yi Chenfeng's Dao intent hand. A pitch-black iron box appeared in the air and was grabbed by the Dao intent giant hand. Sacred beast pill opening the black metal box. Yi Chenfeng found a fist-sized beast core inside. It contained a majestic beast core. Judging from the beast core's beast core, this beast core was no ordinary low-level sacred beast core. It was a mid-level sacred beast core, which was rare even in the Central World. After keeping the mid-grade sacred beast pill into his universe mirror, Yi Qinfeng closed his eyes and controlled the God-Eater brain to continue deducing as he searched for his next target. Very quickly, another terrifying restriction appeared, and this restriction was stronger than the restriction of the sacred animal pill. This made Yi Qinfeng very interested in it, and he immediately controlled the 2 Dao diagrams to condense a large hand of Dao intent and grabbed forward. The moment the large hand of Dao intent grabbed the restriction light ball, it immediately produced a powerful force and forcibly shattered the hand of Dao intent formed by the 2 Dao diagrams. Seeing that the large hand of Dao intent was shattered by this terrifying restriction, the 5 elemental Dao diagram appeared on Yi Qinfeng's body and released a powerful 5 elemental Dao pattern, which merged with a large hand of Dao intent that was full of cracks. It quickly repaired the cracks on the large hand of Dao intent and continuously tore apart the terrifying restriction. After the large hand of Dao intent and the restriction light ball were in a deadlock for more than 10 breaths of time, it finally shattered the terrifying restriction, revealing a black metal box, which was grabbed by the large hand of Dao intent. What kind of treasure was inside? Filled with curiosity, Yi Qinfeng opened the black metal box and found a small piece of blood-red bone marrow sealed inside. Judging from the power contained in the blood-red bone marrow, this small piece of bone marrow was suspected to be dragon marrow, which was the best item for tempering one's body. The Sky Hall's foundation was too terrifying. They even had dragon marrow. Yi Qinfeng wondered how much his dragon bloodline would improve after he refined this dragon marrow. Yi Qinfeng was even more satisfied with this harvest. He put it away and did not make any more moves. He patiently waited for the final and most terrifying restriction treasure to appear. Time slowly flowed by. In next to no time, 2 hours were almost up, yet that terrifying restriction treasure still hadn't appeared after a long time. However, Yi Qinfeng still had no intention of making a move to seize the other restriction treasures. He continued to wait patiently. Finally, when there were less than 10 breaths of time left before the 2 hours were up, the restriction treasure that made Yi Qinfeng's heart tremble appeared. The instant this restriction treasure appeared, Yi Qinfeng clearly felt a trace of heavy pressure. He did not hesitate to summon the 4 Dao diagrams and the bronze sword soul, doing everything he could to subdue this terrifying restriction treasure. Crack! When the giant hand formed from the 4 Dao diagrams grabbed hold of the restriction treasure, it was immediately shaken by the powerful restriction, causing cracks to appear on its surface. At this time, the bronze sword soul turned into an incomparably sharp light sword that was enough to split the heavens and earth. It ruthlessly slashed down, forcibly splitting open a gap in this terrifying restriction. Dao intent hand explode! Time was limited. When the restriction cracked open, Yi Qinfeng immediately detonated the careless hand condensed from the 4 Dao diagrams, continuing to tear open the restriction, causing the entire restriction to be filled with cracks. Bronze sword soul break. When there were only 3 breaths of time left, Yi Qinfeng controlled the bronze sword soul to launch the most fatal attack, tearing apart the severely damaged restriction in one fell swoop. The dark gold box emitting a faint light fell from the void into Yi Qinfeng's hand, and at this time 2 hours were up. The ancient formation in the treasure pavilion was activated, sending Yi Qinfeng and Xianfeng Shi, whose face was full of shock, out of the treasure cliff. Fengchen, you actually obtained this item. Looking at the dark gold box in Yi Qinfeng's hand, Xianfeng Shi was also extremely shocked and asked in astonishment. When Yi Qinfeng opened the dark gold box, he discovered an extremely ordinary-looking milky, white jade pendant without any engravings lying in the box in silence. Senior, what is the origin of this jade pendant? Yi Qinfeng repeatedly sized up the white jade pendant and didn't find anything special, so he asked. This jade pendant is one of the 10 most ancient treasures in the treasure cliff. However, this jade pendant has been passed down for so long, yet no one has been able to decipher its secret. However, I can be sure that this jade pendant is not simple. However, I don't know how to decipher its secret, Xian Fengxi said. Then this junior will wait to study it properly. Yi Qinfeng was prepared to borrow the power of the God-Eater brain to attempt to decipher the secret of this white jade pendant. Fengchen, the central world, isn't very peaceful recently. My Sky Hall dispatched experts to attack the Phantom. Therefore, you should stay in the Sky Hall during this period of time. No one can harm you here, Xian Fengxi said. All right, then this junior will stay in the Sky Hall for a period of time. Yi Qinfeng's recent harvest was too abundant. He really wanted to spend a period of time to slowly digest it. First, he would break through to the third transformation of the 9 transformations, then comprehend the 2 divine abilities, Heavenly Fire, Threefold Transformation, and Divine Ability, Mirror Image. Then, he would break through to the 5th rank Beast Emperor Realm. All right, Fengchen, I am preparing to go into seclusion for a few days to make the final preparations for taking the rebirth pill. I won't accompany you, Xian Fengxi said slowly. Then this junior won't disturb senior. After speaking, Yi Qinfeng left the treasure pavilion guarded by Xian Fengxi and found Xian Hongzhen outside. Following him, he entered the fire god realm, filled with spiritual energy. He found a secluded cave and began to cultivate in seclusion. Mobile reading website, book address. For the convenience of reading next time, you can click on the save button at the bottom to record this reading record. The next time you open the bookshelf, you can see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1212. The Royal Saint Pill. I wonder what realm this pill can help me cultivate my physical body to. Yi Qinfeng sealed his cave and adjusted his breathing for several hours. After adjusting his condition to its peak, he took out the Royal Saint Pill that Master Nirvana had refined during the competition and swallowed it. Watermark advertisement, test watermark advertisement, test boom. As the Royal Sacred Pill entered Yi Qinfeng's body, layers upon layers of boundless medicinal energy erupted from it, instantly opening up Yi Qinfeng's body. It was as if waves of energy were surging through his meridians, spreading throughout his entire body, wreaking havoc and destruction. Waves of tearing pain spread throughout Yi Qinfeng's body. His entire body was like a rolling ball from the majestic medicinal energy of the Royal Saint Pill, as if it could explode at any moment. Enduring the tearing pain, Yi Qinfeng quickly circulated the God 9 transformations. He forcefully compressed the explosive medicinal energy of the Royal Saint Pill into the Shinmen acupuncture point on his wrist, speeding up the transformation of the true spirit pearl in the Shinmen acupuncture point. At the same time, he controlled his internal organs to fuse with the medicinal energy of the Royal Saint Pill, allowing his physical body to undergo a deeper transformation. The Royal Saint Pill had undergone the baptism of the pill tribulation, so the medicinal energy it contained was extremely pure and vast. It allowed the true spirit pearl in the Shinmen acupuncture point and the transformation of his internal organs to speed up. However, the true spirit body to the astral body was a huge leap in the physical body. Not only did it increase the physical body's strength, but more importantly, it unearthed the physical body's potential and transformed the physical body's essence. Therefore, to transform the true spirit body into the astral body, it required an extremely large amount of energy. Just one Royal Saint Pill might not be enough. Luckily, Yi Qinfeng had obtained a small portion of the dragon marrow from the treasure cliff. With the dragon marrow's powerful dragon energy, he had the chance to cultivate the God 9 transformation to the astral body realm. Time passed day by day. Yi Qinfeng relied on his unyielding faith and extraordinary endurance to continuously refine the medicinal energy of the Royal Saint Pill. After relentless efforts, he used close to 10 days to finally refine the pure medicinal energy of the royal saint pill into his Shenmen acupuncture point and his internal organs, allowing his physical body to complete 1/3 of the transformation. His meridians and physical body that were constantly being torn were also quickly healed under the spiritual pearl of life. If he didn't have the spiritual pearl of life, Yi Qinfeng wouldn't have dared to refine his physical body so crazily without caring about the cost. The difficulty of transforming the true spirit body to the astral body wasn't small. The difficulty of transforming the righteous body was beyond Yi Qinfeng's imagination. However, he believed that once his physical body completed the transformation, his physical body would definitely undergo an earth-shattering transformation. He would surpass ordinary low-grade saint beasts. Just relying on his physical body alone, he would be able to fight an ordinary nirvana realm expert. Yi Qinfeng adjusted his breathing and healed the injuries to his physical body. Then he took out the small piece of dragon marrow that was sealed in the small black box. It was priceless, although a true dragon's body was thousands of meters long, and this small piece of dragon marrow was only a tiny bit of its body. True dragons had long gone extinct in the Duhan continent. Moreover, the strength of a true dragon surpassed that of a Tao saint. Therefore, the value of this small piece of dragon marrow far exceeded that of the royal saint pill. It could be said that it was something that could only be found by chance. Even Nirvana realm experts would fight over it madly if they saw it. After unsealing the small black box, Yi Qinfeng immediately felt the exuberant vitality and dragon force within the dragon marrow. The dragon race was indeed a mysterious and powerful race. This true dragon had probably died many years ago, but the dragon marrow it left behind still contained such exuberant vitality. He really didn't know where the Sky Hall obtained this small piece of dragon marrow. Staring at the bright red dragon marrow, Yi Qinfeng sucked a small part of the dragon marrow into his body. The energy contained within the dragon marrow was even more violent and powerful than the royal saint pill. As the violent energy surged into Yi Qinfeng's body, it immediately rampaged through his meridians and acupoints, wantonly destroying them. Yi Qinfeng had already expected the difficulty of refining the dragon marrow. When the dragon marrow was wantonly destroying his physical body, he endured the intense pain and circulated the God Transformation 9 transformations at high speed, using the primal chaos divine to suppress the violent dragon marrow. At the same time, the 2 innate saint pearls that had been refined into his body helped him repair his damaged physical body, preventing his physical body from being destroyed by the dragon marrow. Roar! When Yi Qinfeng was refining the dragon marrow with all his strength, terrifying dragon roars constantly rang out from his body. Even with the primal chaos divine suppressing the dragon marrow, his powerful physical body was still cracked by the dragon marrow. Pung Pung Pungal of Yi Qinfeng's meridians and physical body were destroyed by the violent dragon marrow. Large amounts of blood spurted out from his body like a fountain, dyeing him red. The injuries on his physical body continued to worsen, but Yi Qinfeng, who had an incomparably strong willpower, was like a statue. He sat on the spot in silence, and his brows didn't even crease. It was as if the pain wasn't happening to him at all. Enduring the inhumane pain and refining a small part of the dragon marrow, Yi Qinfeng ignored the injuries on his physical body and continued to absorb the dragon marrow into his body, refining it with all his might and accelerating the transformation of his physical body. As time passed, Yi Qinfeng's meridians and internal organs were completely destroyed by the dragon marrow. More and more blood flowed out from his body, completely drenching his clothes. However, Yi Qinfeng didn't care at all, because the dragon marrow wasn't just a sacred object for tempering the body. It had an even greater effect, and that was to produce blood and exchange blood. The blood in Yi Qinfeng's body was the most ordinary blood. If he could fuse the blood in his body with the dragon blood and improve the quality of his blood, he would truly be reborn. As Yi Qinfeng was refining the dragon marrow, the dragon bloodline in his body was also transforming. Unknowingly, the dragon bloodline that had fused with a large amount of dragon marrow had reached the 8th grade. Once it was burned, it could instantly increase his soul power by 8 times, and it could also greatly increase the combat strength of his beast soul form. With the evolution of the dragon bloodline, my physical body and true spirit pearl have transformed by 2/3. If nothing goes wrong, I should be able to complete the final transformation in about 5 days and cultivate to the righteous body realm. Feeling the changes in his body and true spirit pearl, Yi Chen Feng took a deep breath and controlled the spiritual pearl of life to continue healing his injuries. He absorbed the remaining dragon marrow into his body and accelerated the transformation of his physical body. After about 3 days, all the precious dragon marrow had been refined into Yi Chen Feng's body. Under the transformation of the dragon marrow, Yi Chen Feng's physical body, 5 viscera and 6 bowels had undergone earth-shattering changes. A new strand of energy appeared in his Shenmen acupoint. This new strand of energy was of a quality that far surpassed true spirit force, and it contained a powerful righteous force. The appearance of righteous force meant that Yi Chen Feng was about to complete the most fundamental transformation, and he was only 1 step away from transforming into the righteous body realm. Just as Yi Chen Feng endured the pain and borrowed the power of the dragon marrow to break through to the righteous body realm, endless dark clouds suddenly appeared in the sky above the fire god city, locking onto the fire god realm that was hidden in the void. Physique tribulation. I actually attracted a physique tribulation. Yi Chen Feng was suddenly awakened from his cultivation. He did not expect that refining the dragon marrow would attract a body tribulation. However, Yi Chen Feng was not surprised by the appearance of the body tribulation. Instead, he was happy. He needed to borrow external forces to complete the last step of transformation, and the body tribulation was the best choice for him. Mobile reading site, book address. To make it easier for you to read it next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1213. What happened? Why did tribulation clouds appear in the sky of the fire god world? Could it be that the 2 grand elders refined the fire rebirth pellet and underwent rebirth? Xian Hongzheng, who was cultivating in the fire god world, suddenly felt the aura of tribulation clouds. He was abruptly awakened from his cultivation and revealed a surprised expression. Just as he was about to go out and investigate, the communication pearl in his bosom suddenly rang. Following that, Yi Chen Feng's voice resounded from the communication pearl. Body tribulation. Feng Chen is going to undergo body tribulation. How many secrets is this little guy hiding? Undergoing body tribulation is really unheard of. After knowing that the tribulation clouds were attracted by Yi Chen Feng's body tribulation, Xian Hongzheng revealed a look of disbelief. He hurriedly opened the space restriction of the fire god world. Rumble, an ocean of lightning appeared in the tribulation clouds. A large amount of lightning flashed in the tribulation clouds. The lightning was like a tide, destroying everything. The terrifying sound of thunder was also unceasing, as if it was going to pierce through one's eardrums. What happened? Why did tribulation clouds appear in the sky of the fire god city again? Are the hall masters refining pellets, or is someone breaking through? Looking at the tribulation clouds in the sky, the residents of the fire god city were alarmed once again. One after another, they appeared on the streets. Black lightning. The lightning in the tribulation clouds was actually black in color. The lightning shocked the world, and the black lightning was like a tide. Looking at the pitch-black lightning that was constantly tearing apart the tribulation clouds, the people were alarmed and in awe. Come, body tribulation, help me complete the final transformation. Although Yi Chen Feng felt the power to destroy everything in the tribulation clouds, his foundation was too deep. Moreover, He had the primal chaos divine wood, a divine item that could restrain the power of lightning. He was not afraid of the body tribulation at all. He released the power of his physical body without holding back and waited for the body tribulation to descend. Boom! The violently rolling tribulation, clouds trembled for a moment. A pitch-black tribulation, lightning, accompanied by a terrifying gale, broke out of the tribulation clouds and bombarded Yi Qinfeng, who was standing upright and full of fighting spirit. Boom! The terrifying body tribulation ruthlessly bombarded Yi Qinfeng's body. Countless electric currents formed on the surface of his body and frantically destroyed his physical body, wanting to destroy him. However, after refining the saint pellet and dragon marrow, Yi Qinfeng's physical body had reached an extremely terrifying level. The first body tribulation was unable to harm his physical body at all. Facing the attack of the body calamity, Yi Qinfeng quickly activated the God's 9 transformations transformation and forcibly refined the black lightning into his Shenmen acupoint. He used the black lightning to refine the true spirit orb that was about to evolve and strengthen his physical body. Rumble, just as the first tribulation was about to be refined by Yi Qinfeng, the second tribulation descended. The entire fire of Fire God World was trembling under the attack. Yi Qinfeng's, the entire Fire God realm to tremble under the attacks realm. Yi, the entire Fire realms, slightly two's realm. Yi, of Yi God realm. The realms God realm. To Yi, facing the second body tribulation lightning, Yi Qinfeng still didn't resist. He allowed the black lightning to bombard his powerful physical body. He activated the 9 transformations and continued to refine the terrifying body tribulation lightning into his body. After refining a large amount of black lightning, Yi Qinfeng's physical body began to crack. A large amount of blood flowed out continuously. He was enduring unimaginable damage. However, Yi Qinfeng's blood and energy became more and more vigorous. Under the restoration of the life spirit bead, he completely withstood the damage to his physical body and rapidly transformed it. Was this Feng Qin the reincarnation of an ancient beast? How could his physical body be so terrifying? This level of defense had probably surpassed a high-grade Dao artifact. Witnessing the scene of Yi Qinfeng using his flesh and blood to withstand the body tribulation, Xian Hongzheng and the others were deeply shocked, revealing a horrified expression. If it was an ordinary person, they would have turned into ashes long ago after being attacked by such a terrifying body tribulation. However, Yi Qinfeng allowed the body tribulation to attack his body and temper himself. It was enough to show how terrifying his physical body was. Boom! Boom! Once again, a deafening explosion rang out from the violently tumbling tribulation clouds. A large wave of thunder burst out from the tribulation clouds, shattering the void and bombarding Yi Qinfeng's body, causing his skin and flesh to split open and blood to splatter everywhere. He relied on his physical body to resist again. Xian Hongzheng and the others sucked in a breath of cold air when they saw that Yi Qinfeng's physical body was still intact under the terrifying bombardment of the tribulation clouds. Yi Qinfeng was constantly being attacked by the destructive body tribulation. His physical body was riddled with holes and was on the verge of collapse. However, after refining a large amount of the power of the body tribulation, the true spirit bead in his Heaven's Gate meridian finally transformed into an even more powerful astral bead. The astral bead's transformation was successful. Yi Qinfeng immediately controlled the powerful astral energy to spread throughout his body, strengthening his physical body's defense. He pointed his fists to the sky and activated the 9 transformations at high speed. He crazily swallowed the black lightning and accelerated the transformation of his physical body. This shocking scene stunned Xian Hongzheng and the others. They didn't dare to believe what they were seeing. Madman, This kid was definitely a madman. When others faced this kind of terrifying body tribulation, they would try their best to resist it. However, he was devouring the body tribulation. Once he was given enough space to grow, his strength would probably rise to an unimaginable level. Xian Hongzheng took a deep breath and couldn't help but sigh. Receiving Yi Qinfeng's provocation, the speed of the body tribulation's descent became faster and faster. Its power also became stronger and stronger. The endless black lightning completely annihilated Yi Qinfeng. The terrifying power caused the fire god realm to tremble violently. Just as Xian Hongzheng strengthened the power of the restriction in the fire god realm and withstood the destructive attack of the black lightning, Yi Qinfeng completed the transformation of his physical body under the baptism of the body tribulation. It transformed into an even more powerful astral body. The moment his physical body underwent a qualitative change, his dragon bloodline that had fused with a large amount of dragon marrow also completed its evolution and reached the 9th grade bloodline. Rumble. As the body tribulation neared its end, the violently tumbling tribulation clouds rapidly gathered and turned into a black lightning bolt that was as thick as a child's arm. It was like a spatial crack that pierced through the void as it struck towards Yi Qinfeng. Although the momentum of this last black lightning bolt wasn't great, the destructive power it contained increased exponentially. It tore through the void and shattered it unceasingly. God and Devil bloodline ignite. After cultivating the God Transformation 9 transformations to the astral body realm, Yi Qinfeng's physical strength reached 100 million Jin. When he ignited his God and Devil bloodline, his physical strength doubled, reaching 200 million Jin of strength. His physical defense also reached the level of an ancient Dao tool. Break! Yi Qinfeng roared. The strength in his body was like a surging tide that fused into his fist. He stimulated the dead spirit pearl to erupt with an astonishing amount of death energy as he welcomed the last black lightning bolt with a punch. Boom! 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 The black lightning bolt collided with Yi Qinfeng's fist. The 200 million Jin of strength continued to explode, crushing the black, dragon-like lightning energy as easily as crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. After a series of intense clashes, the last body tribulation was broken by Yi Qinfeng with absolute strength. The tribulation clouds that covered the void gradually dispersed. The astral body was indeed powerful. However, the grade of his God and Devil bloodline was a little low. It could only amplify the strength of his astral body by 2 times. Although Yi Qinfeng was very satisfied with his astral body, the only flaw was that the grade of his God and Devil bloodline was too low. It couldn't amplify the strength of his astral body by 3 times. It was somewhat regrettable. Mobile reading site, book address. To make it easier for you to read it next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1214. I'm sorry, Hall Master Xian. The body tribulation just now caused a big commotion and destroyed the fire god realm. Yi Qinfeng changed into a new set of clothes and appeared in front of Xian Hongzheng and the others in a flash. Watermark advertisement, test watermark, advertisement, test Fengchen. You're cultivating the body system? Although Yi Qinfeng's body didn't look strong, Xian Hongzheng and the others could vaguely feel that his body contained a terrifying power. In terms of physical strength, Xian Hongzheng, who was in the Nirvana realm, felt that he was inferior to Yi Qinfeng, who was in the Aura realm. Yi Qinfeng nodded and said, "Yes, I mainly cultivate Dao intent and body refinement." Xian Hongzheng thought that he had seen too many amazing talents, but compared to you, they were too far away. Xian Hongzheng said with emotion, "Cultivate well. I hope that one day you can stand at the top of the central world. Then the heavenly palace will be able to benefit from you." Yi Qinfeng nodded and said solemnly, I will work hard. Because Yi Qinfeng's cultivation cave was destroyed by the body tribulation, Xian Hongzheng arranged a quiet cave for him to cultivate. It was time to break through to the level 5 combat beast emperor realm. Yi Qinfeng planned to increase his strength to the level 5 combat beast emperor realm before leaving the heavenly palace for a trip to the central world. Before cultivating in seclusion, Yi Qinfeng entered the universe realm and called Jin Qing, Dragon Bloodlion, and the Marquis Qianming to his side. Marquis Qianming, I promise to help you break through to the Nirvana realm. I'll give you this Saint Pill. With your current strength, you should have a chance to reach the Nirvana realm after refining this Saint Pill. Yi Qinfeng didn't hesitate and gave a 1-mark Saint Pill to the Marquis Qianming. Thank you, young Master Yi. After receiving the Saint Pill from Yi Qinfeng, the Marquis Qianming was very excited. Although he used to be a duke of the Kirin kingdom, the value of the divine elixir was too high, and it was too rare. With his status back then, he would never be able to get a divine elixir unless he made great contributions to the Kirin kingdom. Dragon Bloodlion, this mid-level Saint Beast core is for you. I hope that you can quickly reach the limit of a 9th level heavenly beast and break through to the Saint Beast stage. At that time, I will think of a way to help you pass the heavenly punishment. Yi Qinfeng gave the sacred beast core he obtained from the treasure cliff to his loyal Jin Qing, Dragon Bloodlion. All right, you guys go cultivate. With that, Yi Qinfeng left the universe realm and came to the outside world. He took out an invaluable Saint Pill and placed it in his mouth. Before he could even chew it, the Saint Elixir turned into a stream of heat. Like a surging flood, it poured into his body and spread throughout his body. It's hot. Yi Qinfeng realized that the medicinal power of the Saint Elixir was like boiling water. It was boiling in his body, burning his body and internal organs. A large amount of heat flowed out of his pores. Enduring the burning sensation in his body, Yi Qinfeng gritted his teeth and sealed all the pores in his body to prevent the medicinal power of the Saint Elixir from leaking out. He circulated the soul-devouring tactic over and over again to refine the burning medicinal power in his body. Due to the terrifying heat released by the Saint Elixir, Yi Qinfeng's skin turned fiery red. The clothes on his body were ignited by his burning skin and burned to ashes. However, Yi Qinfeng had cultivated the righteous body, and his physical body had become too terrifying. Although the heat released by the Saint Elixir made him feel intense pain, it could not hurt his physical body at all. Relying on his strong endurance, Yi Qinfeng endured the burning sensation and quickly refined the medicinal power of the Saint Elixir into his body. Under the enhancement of the burning medicinal power of the Saint Elixir, Yi Qinfeng's strength increased rapidly. The Tao will in his body was also strengthened under the nourishment of the Saint Elixir's medicinal power. In about 5 days, Yi Qinfeng had completely refined and absorbed the Saint Elixir's medicinal power. If an ordinary level 4 combat Beast Emperor expert completely refined the Saint Elixir, they could directly break through to level 6 combat Beast Emperor. However, Yi Qinfeng's foundation was too deep. After refining the Saint Elixir, he could only cultivate to the limit of level 4 combat Beast Emperor. He could not break through to level 5 combat Beast Emperor. Just as Yi Qinfeng consolidated his strength and was about to take the second Saint Elixir to break through to level 5 combat Beast Emperor, he felt Xian Hong appear outside his cave. He stopped cultivating and put on a new set of clothes. He closed the soundproof restriction and walked out. Hall Master Xian, are you looking for me? Yi Qinfeng asked softly when he saw Xian Hong, who suddenly came to visit. Feng Qin, 2 people came to the heavenly palace yesterday. They said that they are your friends and have something important to tell you. They want to meet you. Xian Hong said, My friends? Yi Qinfeng frowned slightly. He did not have many friends in the central world, so he could not think of who would want to meet him. Hall Master Xian, what are the 2 people called? Yi Qinfeng asked softly. One of them is called Kong Sungqin, and the other is called Zhang Biyue. Xian Hong said, Hall Master Xian, where are they? Yi Qinfeng raised his eyebrows. He did not expect that the two people who came to find him would be Kong Sungqin and Zhang Biyue. However, Bai Feng did not come. He vaguely guessed that something might have happened to Bai Feng. It seems that they are really your friends. Xian Hong said slowly, let's go. I will take you to see them. After speaking, Xian Hong took Yi Qinfeng and left the Fire God realm. They came to the reception hall of the Fire God Palace. At this time, Kong Sungqin and Zhang Biyue were anxiously waiting in the reception hall. When they heard the footsteps and looked up, they saw Yi Qinfeng walking over slowly with an old man with a strong aura. They were overjoyed and stood up from their chairs. Hall Master Xian, can I talk to them alone? Yi Qinfeng communicated with Kong Sungqin and Zhang Biyue with his eyes and said, Of course. Xian Hongjing very happily agreed, turned around and left. Walking into the reception hall, Yi Qinfeng immediately set up a soundproof restriction in the reception hall. He looked at Kong Sungqin and Zhang Biyue, who were slightly excited, and said, Seniors, how did you know that I was in the Heavenly Palace? Where is Senior Bai Feng? Why is he not with you? Something happened to Bai Feng, the tired Kong Sungqin said. Seniors, don't be anxious. Tell me slowly. What happened to Senior Bai Feng? Yi Qinfeng asked after motioning them to sit down. Sigh, when the three of us were wandering in the central world, we picked up a precious spiritual item at the mouth of a volcano. It was also because of that spiritual item that the three of us had a conflict with the people of the demonic Pattern Valley. Although we managed to protect the spiritual item with our strength, the experts of the demonic Pattern Valley were very strong. The injured Bai Feng was still captured by them. They gave us a month to bring the spiritual item to the demonic Pattern Valley in exchange for Bai Feng. Otherwise, we would burn Bai Feng alive. We knew that this was a trap. As long as we went, we would have no hope of surviving. Just as we were about to lose all hope, we inadvertently learned that you had become an honorary elder of the Heavenly Palace under a pseudonym and saw your portrait. So, we came to the Heavenly Palace to try our luck. Kong Sungqin told Yi Qinfeng the whole story. Seniors, what spiritual item did you pick that made the demonic Pattern Valley go to war with you? Yi Qinfeng asked with a frown. It was a golden lotus burning with flames. Saying so, Jiang Xingqian took out the golden fire lotus he had plucked. Golden petal flaming, lotus-looking at the golden lotus in Kong Sungqin's hand. Yi Qinfeng immediately recognized that it was the golden petal flaming lotus that could make Nirvana realm experts go crazy. It was the golden petal flaming lotus that could destroy the power of the world's divine punishment. Seniors, how much longer do we have until the 1-month deadline? Yi Qinfeng asked. There were less than 15 days left. Zhang Biyue said anxiously. There was enough time. Yi Qinfeng nodded and said, Let's go, seniors. We will leave the Heavenly Palace now and go to the demonic Pattern Valley to save people. The three of us will go. Kong Sungqin knew the strength of the demonic Pattern Valley and wanted Yi Qinfeng to ask for help from the Heavenly Palace. The three of us will be enough. Yi Qinfeng had a conflict with the protector of the demonic Pattern Valley and asked about the strength of the demonic Pattern Valley. The demonic Pattern Valley was attached to the Octave Divine Nation and was just an ordinary sacred ground. The Valley Master, the Black Demon Emperor, was a Nirvana expert. Other than the Black Demon Emperor, there were 2 other Nirvana experts in the demonic Pattern Valley. However, the 100 mid-grade heaven crystals obtained from the Heavenly Palace were enough for Yi Qinfeng to deal with the Nirvana experts and destroy the demonic Pattern Valley. All right, Kong Sungqin and Zhang Biyue looked at each other and didn't say anything. They followed behind Yi Qinfeng and left the living room. They found the girl from the Zhou family and brought her to Xianhongzheng. Mobile reading site. Book address. To make it easier for you to read it next time, you can click the Save button at the bottom to record your reading record. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 12:15. Feng Qin, what happened to you guys? Why are you leaving so suddenly? Knowing that Yi Qinfeng was leaving, Xian Hongzheng asked with concern. Do you need help? Don't worry, Palace Master Xian, we can deal with it ourselves. Yi Qinfeng shook his head. Watermark advertisement, test watermark advertisement test. Although this matter could be easily resolved with Skyhall's help, Yi Qinfeng did not want to let Mo Rune Valley off so easily. Feng Qin, the Central World is not peaceful recently, and you are the talk of the Central World. Many people are coveting your treasures. Once you appear in the Central World, you might be in big trouble. Xian Hongzheng reminded him worriedly. I understand. Before Senior Absolute Sword left, he gave this junior a human-skinned mask. With that human-skinned mask, even a Nirvana Heavenly Realm powerhouse would not be able to see my true appearance. Yi Qinfeng said confidently with a faint smile. Since you have made up your mind, I will not try to persuade you. However, the Central World is full of crouching tigers and hidden dragons. Remember to be careful. If you encounter any big trouble that you cannot solve, remember to contact us. My Skyhall will always be your solid backing. Xian Hongzheng nodded and reminded. Thank you. Yi Qinfeng felt warmth in his heart as he said, gratefully, Palace Master Xian, does Skyhall have a teleportation array that leads directly to Octahead Kingdom? In order to save time, Yi Qinfeng wanted to use the teleportation array to go directly to Octahead Kingdom. Yes, come with me. Xian Hongzheng nodded and brought Yi Qinfeng and the other three to the teleportation hall. Feng Qin, be careful. If you have time, come back and visit, Xian Hongzheng reminded. All right, Palace Master Xian, we will meet again. After speaking, Yi Qinfeng put on the human skin mask and hid his true face. He stood in the teleportation array with Kong Sungqin and the other two and left Skyhall. They arrived at a 9-star sky pavilion located in Octahead Kingdom. Miss, after dealing with the matters at hand, I will send you home. For now, you should sleep for a while. As he spoke, Yi Qinfeng fed the Zhou clanswoman a pill, causing her to fall unconscious and be transported into the universe realm. Come on, let's go to the Glyph Valley. Yi Qinfeng held the topographic map of the 8 divergent divine country that Shui Hanyan had given him. He locked onto the location of the demonic pattern valley and led Jiang Xingqin out of the 9-star heavenly pavilion, hurrying towards the demonic pattern valley. The demonic rune valley was one of the top holy lands in the Central World. It was a vassal of the 8 divergent divine nation. The valley master, the Black Demon Emperor, was a famous expert of the 8 divergent divine nation. Because the demonic rune valley had been a vassal of the 8 paths divine nation for generations, the relationship between the demonic rune valley and the 8 paths divine nation was extremely close. Relying on this relationship, the demonic rune valley controlled a county of the 8 paths divine nation, and almost no one in the 8 paths divine nation dared to provoke them. It's been more than 20 days. Why haven't those two appeared yet? The Black Demon Emperor, who wore a black robe embroidered with skulls, had a square face and a black beard around his mouth. His eyes were deeply sunken into his cheeks, and he gave off a fiendish feeling as he sat on a throne of white bones. He looked at the several spies of Devilmark Valley and asked in a deep voice, No, those two seem to have disappeared from the face of the earth. We guessed that they might have escaped from Octahead Kingdom. One of the spies of Devilmark Valley said in awe, Damn it, they dared to escape after stealing my golden fiery lotus. Even if they run to the ends of the earth, I will catch them. The Black Demon Emperor's eyes were burning with anger. He ordered loudly, Go, hang the person you caught on the flagpole at the entrance of the valley. When the 1 month is up, if those two still don't appear, I will skin them alive. It was the Demon Emperor. A burly man exuding a thick demonic aura received the order. He pulled Bai Feng, who had been tortured to death, out of the dungeon and hung him on a flagpole dozens of meters high outside Devil Mark Valley. Not long after Bai Feng was hung on the flagpole, the spies immediately sent news that Kong Sungchin and Zheng Biwa had appeared. Good, good, you are finally willing to come. Today, I will definitely make it impossible for you to escape. Hearing this news, the Black Demon Emperor revealed a cruel smile. He immediately ordered the experts of Devil Mark Valley to lie in ambush outside the valley, waiting for Kong Sungchin and Zheng Biwa to appear so that he could capture them and take back the golden fiery lotus that was extremely important to him. Ching Feng, I heard that Devil Mark Valley's master, the Black Demon Emperor, is a Nirvana expert. Are the three of us really okay? Kong Sungchin asked worriedly, fully aware of how terrifying Nirvana experts were. Don't worry, as long as there is no Nirvana Heavenly Realm expert in Devil Mark Valley, our strength is enough to rescue Senior White and make Devil Mark Valley pay a painful price. Yi Chin Feng said with a confident smile. On the way to Devil Mark Valley, Yi Qinfeng's powerful soul sensed that several hidden auras had been secretly following them. However, he didn't care. According to the topographic map, he quickly flew with Kong Sungchin and Zheng Biwa and soon flew out of Devil Mark Valley. From afar, he saw a majestic mountain range that stretched for an unknown number of miles, with most of its peaks reaching into the clouds. The mountain range in front of him was Black Demon Mountain, where Devil Mark Valley was located. Senior White, as they approached the entrance of Devil Mark Valley, Yi Chin Feng saw that Bai Feng, who was covered in wounds and on the verge of death, was tied up and hung on a flagpole tens of meters high. His breathing was weak, and his face immediately revealed a fierce expression. Whoosh! An ear-piercing sound rang out. Yi Chin Feng suddenly ignited his golden rock bloodline, increasing his speed by 4 times. He turned into a golden phantom in the air and flew over at an extremely fast speed. He wanted to save Bai Feng first, so that there wouldn't be any accidents when a conflict broke out. As Yi Chin Feng flew over, a powerful restriction was activated, enveloping Yi Chin Feng. It wanted to trap him and not give him a chance to save Bai Feng. However, Yi Chin Feng's flying speed was too fast, and his physical strength had reached 100 million Jin. He was like a meteor streaking across the sky, bringing with him invincible strength as he directly pierced through the powerful restriction and appeared in front of Bai Feng. Just as Yi Chin Feng was about to save Bai Feng, a blurry figure suddenly appeared. It opened its bloody mouth and spat out a large amount of poisonous fog, biting toward Yi Chin Feng. Level 9, Heavenly Beast, purple-spotted venomous, snake-looking at the venomous beast that was sneaking up on him. Yi Chin Feng did not retreat. Instead, he charged forward. He poured all his strength into his right fist and punched at the head of the purple-spotted venomous snake that was baring its fangs. Boom! The 100 million Jin of strength, mixed with the power of the undead spirit pearl, crashed into the purple-spotted venomous snake's head like a meteor. The terrifying power easily crushed the purple-spotted venomous snake's head, causing it to explode. After that, Yi Chin Feng used his palm as a blade and chopped at the tough chains binding Bai Feng's body. He severed the chains and saved Bai Feng, who had long since fallen unconscious and whose life was hanging by a thread, and transported her into the universe realm. Chi! Chi! The moment Yi Chin Feng saved Bai Feng, extremely fast and powerful light arrows shot toward Yi Chin Feng in the air, wanting to kill him. However, after cultivating the righteous body, Yi Chin Feng's physical body was comparable to a top-grade Dao artifact. The light arrows could not hurt him at all. Ancient underworld Song Yi, Chin Feng, locked his gaze on the Devil Rune Valley experts, who were shooting arrows at him. The soul force in his mind erupted, forming the ancient underworld song that sounded like a golden horse and an iron spear. It was like the sound of hell bombarding the dozens of Devil Rune Valley experts. Ah! Pained shrieks resounded. Dozens of Demon Pattern Valley's experts were attacked by Yi Chin Feng's great Dao sound and ancient underworld song. Their bodies exploded, turning into clumps of blood mist as they died. This strange scene shocked the Devil Rune Valley experts. For a moment, the Devil Rune Valley that was filled with the thick smell of blood fell silent. No one dared to attack Yeech and Foam again. Mobile reading website. Book address. To make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click Save at the bottom to record this book. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support.